It is 7:02. I'm going to open the October 3rd, 2022 meeting of the Planning Board. Present at the meeting, please acknowledge your presence when I call your name. Rebecca Werner.
Werner present.
Mark White.
White present.
And let's see who else we have. Well, Mark Barbadoro is present. Are any other members of the board present that I'm not seeing?
I don't see any Mark.
Okay.
Let's wait for a minute. I'm sure Kathy will show in a minute. Let's give her a poke. The meeting's open, Mark. Let's do something while we're waiting for everybody to show up.
I'm taking a look right now, Mark, see what we can do. Got a lot of public hearings.
We always have minutes we can do.
I'm taking a look right now. Meeting minutes of August 29th, 2022 and September 19th, 2022.
I'm gonna put them
So
on.
can anybody put them up on the screen?
Yep. Here we go. Hold on a sec. Where's the share screen? See
Okay.
those?
Thanks, Mark.
I
Does
have
anybody
of,
have any amendments?
yes, Mark. Line number 125. I think regulator is supposed to be regulatory. 176. The BCT. I'm questioning if that was previously defined in the meeting minutes. If not, it should be.
Okay,
Mark.
as the Foxborough Conservation Trust.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
So expand the acronym into the full.
I just think, yeah, for
Yeah,
any
no.
reading through.
Actually, I think everything that's a three-letter acronym should be expanded into its full.
Agreed.
BCT, TUV. What's
Uh,
the TUV?
I think TUV, I noted that too, but I think TUV is actually the folks that are moving into 400. So I think that's TUV Rhineland, I think it is. Maybe we should just write that part out. Yeah, TUV, our second word is REINLAND. So we should add that second word to the name.
Janet.
With that.
I apologize for the interruption. I want to let you know that half of the committee is on a different Zoom call and they're going to be redirected over to this call. That's why they're not in this right now. And I'm going to go back and let them know. So,
Thank you, Janet.
Great, thanks, Janet. I wonder how that happened.
I think there was there were two versions of the agenda, and obviously some people stuck on the first one, not on the second one. Okay, I'm going to try and help them.
Well, that's problematic.
Well, that's how it is, right?
I understand, but we need to make sure that anybody who goes to the other link is going to find their way to this link.
Yeah, I'm going to try and at least, yeah, that's true. Because members of the public are going to have the same text message that I'm going to send.
The one I used was on the agenda.
Online?
Well, the most recent, the one that was in our packet, I guess, the
Yeah.
agenda that was in our packet.
Hold on a second. Can you
I
see
used
my
the one
screen?
online and got to this meeting, so that the one online worked.
What's that?
Oh,
I used the link on the agenda that's online, and that brought me to
That's
this
what I
meeting.
did too.
are you seeing my, my screen with the, meeting notice?
Yep,
Okay, so that is the correct login. Of course, the people, the people who don't have it can't see it, so, hold on, let me try something here.
This is Dave from Boxborough TV. Do you have the meeting ID from that other meeting?
Janet does because she used it earlier. But she-
Because I started this meeting from the most current version of the agenda, which is how it got started. But I don't know where that other one is. We can try to do something, I suppose, but I don't know what that meeting ID was that they used.
Well, we're about to find out because we really do need to make an effort to try and get everybody on this meeting.
Let's see what the other one was. That was the old, that's the new one. That's the old one. Oh, here they are. There they are. All right. Everybody's here now. Whew. There you are.
Best laid plans.
Okay, so I think we have everybody here now from our board, but I want to make sure that we figure out why people are ending up elsewhere. So where did you get on, Cindy? That was in the wrong place.
So through the agenda and the link that Tracy had sent us with the packet link via email, those were consistent for a different location. And you folks seem to have gotten on through the Zoom link on the calendar, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
my question is there will anyone find the link that you used, or was that something that Tracy just gave to us?
It would have been in the agenda or the.
Well, this link I've got, I'm sharing. Is that the one that you guys tried to do? Because that was yesterday. That was the agenda that was prior to the one that we got today.
It ends with NCTO9 or something. NCUTO9.
No, this one's ZZ09.
All right, that's the one in the agenda works. The one on the website that says meeting join here is incorrect.
All right.
All right. Well, Dave, did you hear that?
Yes.
So if
Thank
we
you.
find you that link, can you somehow join them?
I can't, but yeah, let me talk to Kirby.
Tracy, is she joined us yet? She was going to stay on the other one
Oh, she was?
to direct people, I guess.
Well, that'll work.
Okay, that'll work.
Wants
But
to be the
for how long?
sacrificial lamb.
Actually, if she shares her screen, can she do that? Maybe not. You could put a message up and share the screen on another meeting, but I'm not sure she is able to share.
Say that again, Kirby. What are you thinking? I mean, Dave, sorry.
I was thinking that you could put a message up using share screen and redirecting everybody, but I'm not sure she has permission to share the screen unless she's a co-host. So that may not work.
Well, Well, she knows that this is the place, but I think she was gonna hang out there and redirect, but, we do have a 7:15 hearing, so I don't know, it looks like the 7:05 folks are on this call. So maybe after 7:15, she can come over to this meeting.
No, somebody has to be there the entire time because we advertised that meeting. Yeah. So anyways, I'm just gonna send her a text and say, are you staying on that call?
Mark, could I run it on my phone, that Zoom?
Yeah, you can run it on your phone. That's fine. And if someone shows up in that
Right.
room, you can.
That's a great idea, Rebecca.
Can somebody send me the bad link?
Here, the
Can you just text it to me, Mark?
all right, hold on. Oh no, this is ours. Hold on a second. I don't know what the bad link is, actually. That's a good question.
I can do that.
Because our meeting ID is 0840. And on both of those,
Let's see.
0840.
I'll email it to you, Rebecca, that I can do.
Thank you.
Well, that's fun.
So that's interesting. So both of the agendas that we got via email have the correct Zoom information. So the only one that I don't know what's on the website, but boy, that's bad.
It's the one on the calendar page that says location of meeting.
Yeah.
If you go to the calendar page, it says planning board meeting, that's where the bad link is.
Well,
Okay. So Tracy said she's putting the link on that link. So people can, when they go to the wrong place, they can see the correct link. Anyways, well, that was good. That burned up a lot of time. That consumed a lot of oxygen that I didn't have anything to say. So, all right. So at 7:05, if I have the right agenda, the agenda right now that I'd like to open the 7:05 public hearing for the recodification of the current zoning bylaw. And participants that have arrived late are Cindy Markowitz and Kathy Vorse and Janet Connolly. So, Cindy, can you put up the most recent version of the recodification?
Yes. Okay, so I noted this is dated March 25th on the upper left, but evidently this just came in late last week. I wasn't even aware of it. So it is dated September 29th, I believe.
Okay. So, just to backtrack a little bit, we created, or actually I should say Cindy, who deserves all the credit. She created the index of changes to this bylaw. And that was posted along with the recodification, and it will be shown on the website for town meeting because the recodification is too big to fit in the warrant. We're just referring to it. So,
Mark,
that's
I'm sorry, point of order.
Yep.
I know this is on the agenda for 7:05.
Yep.
But we've got applicants in here who are on for 7:15, and we can just as well do this later as sooner, and to make them, all these people sit through this. I mean, do we want to do that?
Well, I'm not sure because I think there are also people here who want to talk about the recodification. I thought I saw Michael Toops and maybe some others who might want to, but
Okay.
we could
Well,
certainly, if you want to make a motion to continue this to a time after this, that's fine. And we can move the 7:15 hearing up. That's fine with me.
I would make a motion to move this to later in the evening.
Okay, so why don't we say a time, let's say 7:20? Because we can always do it later.
Well, that's 3 minutes from now, so.
All right, 7:25?
No, how about moving it till like, we've got these other things on our agenda out of the way so we can do our business afterwards. So
Pick a time.
move it to 8:30.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. Mark White,
White eye.
Rebecca Werner,
Mark, I apologize. I was talking to Tracy and getting that squared away, so I did not hear what we are voting on right now. I
Okay, so we are voting to continue the public hearing for the recodification.
apologize. Okay, yep, then I will say aye.
Okay, Kathleen Vorse. You're muted.
Vorse, aye.
Okay, Cindy Markowitz
Markowitz, aye.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay, so I would open the 7:15 public hearing for the application.
Hold on a moment. I'm sorry. There's two hearings. One is also scheduled at 7:05 for 400 Beaver Brook, and one is at 7:15 for 100 Common Hill. I'm sorry, Mark. I just want to make sure you know that there's two.
Oh, okay, so we had two for 7:05. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, then let's open the 7:05 one. So I'd like to, and Cindy, can you put the, this is a continuation, okay. So scratch that. Okay, let's open the 7:05 continuation for the application submitted under 7300 earth removal. Wait a minute, that's not what we want either. Or is it? Wait a
Yes.
minute. Okay. So let's open at 7:05, the application submitted under 7300 earth removal, 7500 open space and commercial development, 8,000 site plan approval, and 9,200 special permit submitted by Campanelli Tri-Gate Sub LLC to construct a 64,000 square foot office research development facility. Subject property is located in the Office Park District at 400 Beaverbrook Road and is identified on Assessor's Map and Parcel 3140. So is there someone here who wants to present to this board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. My name is Russell Dion, partner at Campanelli.
Hi, Russell.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Is there a permission to share the screen with us, please?
Please do. I don't know how to do that, but
I'm promoting them to co-host. Still on the way.
okay.
Okay. Can you see the aerial rendering of the TUV Rhineland facility now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the Planning Board, for giving us the opportunity to be at the second hearing tonight. With me tonight are three members of the TUV leadership team. Also with me is David Kelly of Kelly Engineering. Also with me is Johanna Schneider of Hemingway and Barnes. And our plan tonight, and some other members of the Campanelli development team as well. We have 3 or 4 members of the Campanelli team with us. Our plan tonight is just to do a quick overview of what's been transpired since our first hearing. Johanna Schneider will give a brief overview of the permitting strategy that she had submitted to the board, and David Kelly will give a brief overview of some of the project statistics and updates on other communications with peer review, Conservation Commission, NEPA, and open space. So what I'd like to just say to the board is just to reiterate what has been submitted to the board since the closing of our first hearing. A full traffic impact assessment has been provided to the board, prepared by MDM Transportation. A full storm drainage report for all of the properties that have been developed in the park at Beaver Brook, as well as the roadway. So we've submitted a full drainage inspection report for lot 200, 300, 400, 500, and 600, as well as the roadway. We've also prepared a permit summary spreadsheet with a response to all of the 3 previous open space permit conditions with commentary. And we've also provided hyperlinks to all of the known permits to date. We've actually submitted that in mid-September, and we had a second submittal after our site walk. On September 20th, we had a site walk with the board. And since then, we had additional submissions, which was the second submission of the updated permit summary spreadsheet. We had the zoning table that described some of the dimensional regulations for the Building 400 project as it complies to current zoning and as it complies to the previously issued open space commercial district permit. And we also submitted a legal memo from Johanna Schneider as it relates to a proposed permit pathway. Just one slide that I want to, if you go to the slide, one slide before I pass the baton over to Johanna. There was a question at the site walk about vegetation and trees. And this is a slide which pretty much shows, as we walked through the site, the green bubbles represent existing mature vegetation that will remain uninterrupted by the construction of a new building. We plan to remove 39 trees, which are shown in a dashed circle, and those will be replaced with 40 to 45 trees that are designated by a purple tree. So I just wanted to present that slide just real quickly there as it related to the site walk. So at this time, prior to going to David's review, I wanted to introduce Johanna Schneider from Hemingway and Barnes so she can outline and just take us through the memorandum that was submitted to the board on September 26th. Johanna?
Yeah, thanks, Russell. And thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Johanna Schneider. I am Project Land Use Counsel. I think, as the board knows, in our July filing, we requested that the board take 2 actions with respect to the park. First, we asked the board to amend the prior OSCD special permit to substitute an updated site plan and to extend the original development period, which lapsed in 2015. And we also asked the board to grant site plan approval for the individual project on the Building 400 site. When we were before the board back in late August, it became clear to us that the board had a number of questions regarding the appropriate procedure for handling our requests. So in the interim, we've taken a close look at how this all might be done, with a particular eye on how to expedite an approval for Building 400, given that we have TUV, who very much wants to return to Boxborough with a great use, which we think would be beneficial not just for us, not just for TUV, but also to the town from an economic development standpoint. I have detailed this approach in a memo that hopefully you all received around sometime last week, but I did want to this evening briefly highlight what we're suggesting in the short term. Step 1 would be a relatively minor amendment to the existing OSCD special permit to extend the commercial development period, which, as I said, ended in 2015, just for the purposes of Building 400. We think that an extension to something around 2025 would allow us more than enough time to construct this building for TUV. As detailed again in the memo, by our reading of the existing special permit, the board absolutely has the authority to do this. And the document says, and I'll just read a quick snippet from it, with respect to any portion of the commercial development that is not permitted or not a permitted or completed building at the time of the expiration of the commercial development period, the commercial development period may be extended by and at the option of the planning board. I want to emphasize that what we're talking about right now is a discrete amendment to the special permit and it does not require the board to, at this time, take up our full updated master plan or any broader amendment to the underlying permit. The next step would be to grant site plan approval for just Building 400. In a minute, you're going to hear from David Kelly. He will review the proposal for Building 400 and he'll discuss how it complies with the town site plan review criteria. But I do think that this should be a rather straightforward review. This is a previously developed disturbed site. It is far from any residential abutters. It's part of phase 1 of the park, for which all required mitigation has already been provided. And that includes recording conservation restrictions to preserve open space that was tied to phase 1. The Building 400 proposal also complies with all applicable dimensional requirements other than FAR and lot coverage, but you would kind of expect that given that the lot was laid out pursuant to an OSCD special permit, which looks at FAR and lot coverage on a park-wide basis. Additionally, as David can review with you, the new Lot 400 building will actually have fewer traffic impacts and less stormwater impact than what was previously approved by this board for this site. So that's what we're suggesting with respect to Building 400. And we think this is a manageable way to deal with, this very concrete proposal that you have before you, and to, hopefully get TUV into the site and back into Boxborough where we would all really like them to be. I think once that's done, we could start working more closely with the town, with planning staff, with this board on the 2022 updated master plan that we submitted back in July. I don't want to get into the bigger picture too much tonight because I know you're hoping to confer with town council on this question, and I know he wasn't available this evening, but I think he's expected to join us in your next hearing, which is October 17th. But I think it's enough to say for now that after looking closely at this, we do believe that the easiest way to handle that would be through an amended and restated OSCD special permit. And this is set forth in more detail in my memo, and I'm happy to talk about that in more detail tonight. But again, I think for tonight, we're really hoping to spend the time with you focusing on a review of Building 400. And unless there are questions for me, I'll hand it off to David Kelly to talk about that building.
I have questions. I'm not sure it's for you, Johanna, but so yeah, I am particularly interested in the what you call the master plan for the site. And I think I just heard you say that after this, you guys will deal with the master plan for the site. Is that right?
So, Mr. Chairman, that's what we're proposing now. Back in July, we had asked that the board take up the overall master plan and the Building 400 plan. And I think that, in light of the board's stated concerns and the need to confer with town council, and the fact that we have a tenant who is, looking for us to move forward as quickly as possible with this purpose-built project on Building 400, I think we're kind of pivoting a little bit and trying to do this in more of a stepwise fashion to facilitate the review and hopefully the approval of Building 400. So rather than taking all of it at once, which was our initial approach, what I'm suggesting in the memo and what I've outlined tonight is more of a stepwise approach where we would be dealing just with Building 400, which again requires a very slight amendment to the existing open space special permit, and then also, as expected, the site plan review and approval for just 400.
I'm sorry. I was paying attention, but I may have missed it. Did you say that after this, we will be dealing with what you call the master plan for the site after this particular one? Is that right?
That's what we are now proposing. Like, let's deal with Building 400, which is relatively concrete and contained. And then as a next step, talk about the broader issues, which is the entire master plan and proposed revisions to it for the entirety of the park.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
I'm interested in doing that personally, that I would like to see us move on to the broader, picture of the site rather than it picking away at it project by project. So, but I also understand that you guys have a bird in the hand that you want to, close the deal. And I also don't want to get in the way of that to the extent that I don't have to. So I'm,
and we appreciate that. And we appreciate that. And I think the other thing I want to say is that because building 400 is on a site that was already disturbed, construction had already begun, it is part of that phase one for which all of the mitigation is already in place. I think that although I absolutely understand what you're saying, you'd rather not do this on a case-by-case basis, this is a relatively easy one to kind of pick off and handle separately, as opposed to maybe some of the other sites that would be more complicated.
Understood. Okay. So I don't know if the board has any questions. I have one question for the board, for the applicant before we get started, and that is the project is located in the Aquifer Protection District, and our special permit criteria requires that all other permits be satisfied before a special permit can be approved. So what other permits have you guys acquired?
Mr. Chairman, perhaps this is a time, it's a good question, but it's a good time to bring David Kelly in to just touch base on the status of the TUV project. We have not applied for any other permits other than the earth permit with the town of Boxborough and an open space commercial district permit with the town of Boxborough. But David can, as part of his update, will update you on DOT in the MEPA process.
Okay, and I'm assuming there might also be other permit and license changes for your water and your sewer and CONSCOM and the rest, right?
David will talk about CONSCOM, and just as an update to the board, there's no change in the water and sewer. We can submit those permits. The permits are constantly updated with DEP on an annual and biannual basis, and we have those permits in our hand. They were updated in the last 12 months for operation of a wastewater treatment facility, a groundwater discharge permit, as well as a well water extraction permit. So those are all current, and we can make sure that they're in the possession of the board.
Okay, great. Why don't we start with the permits then? So,
David,
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Chairman, my name is David Kelly with Kelly Engineering Group. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. So what I'd like to just do, as Russell pointed out, is just quickly give you another refresher overview now that you've been to the property and you've seen on the ground what we've been talking about, and explain just very, very briefly what the project is. You've already heard all of this before, and it's been some 5 or 6 weeks since we saw you. So I figured we'd spend just a few minutes to refreshing our memories on what we're proposing here firstly, and then I'll go through a few more of the miscellaneous items, some of which were brought up by the board at the last hearing. So when you were at the property the other day, though you could not see it, the Building 400 foundation is beneath the large lawn area in the middle of the site that you walked around that day. That will be removed, and the building that you see on this plan in front of you, the 64,000 square foot R&D facility, will be constructed to be occupied by TUV Rhineland. The goal of the project, one of the site goals of the project, was to maximize the reuse of the existing infrastructure, including connecting the new building to the existing installed utilities. And so to that end, the utilities were actually extended to almost to the face of what is going to be the new building. They were extended to the face of the old building that's buried beneath the ground. So it's a very easy challenge for us to take those into the building. The drainage system exists on the site today. We discussed that in detail last time, and I'll speak a little further about it in a moment. The site is the design is very straightforward. We're keeping the majority of the existing parking area, though we're removing a number of parking spaces to get to the number of spaces that we would that we need for the project. The site layout will be modified from slightly, the site lot, excuse me, will be modified slightly from what was approved in 2000. We're moving the lot line slightly to accommodate the proposed development and to create a driveway to the rear of building number 500. That's shown in gray on the right side of this plan. And the idea there is that the connections between the rear connection between building 400 and 500 will be removed. It'll become an emergency access drive, but not a real access route for business owners or their visitors to get to building 500. So that driveway on the right side of the plan is designed to take those visitors now to the rear of building 500, where the larger parking lots exist to accommodate that site. And only those parking spaces that are necessary for the project will remain. The project will remove approximately 230 of the spaces that you saw when you were out on the site the other day, and will result in a reduction on this plan that you see here of 33,000 square feet, but actually on the lot itself of over 50,000 square feet. The difference is that we're adding that driveway that we talked about a moment ago to go to building 500, but the net reduction is close to an acre of impervious area, which is substantial. The plan takes advantage, as Johanna had noted, there are a number of items that were previously granted by the board relative to the OSCD special permit. The 9x18 spaces are shown throughout. We would like to continue that with any of the new parking spaces to be both consistent and consistent with the current market for parking space sizes. That's a typical parking space size that we use throughout the industry. There is no change whatsoever to the limit of pavement. So when you walk that property today, that curb line that you saw as you walk the perimeter will remain intact. There will be no changes. There's a substantial landscaping plan that primarily relies on keeping the landscaping that's there, as Russell pointed out and showed you in that slide earlier. And in particular, that very nice buffer along the street will remain intact in its entirety. The site will be graded just slightly to accommodate the new entry doors, but for the most part will stay as is. So that's an overview of the site. I know that Sue Carter's on the call, Mr. Chairman, and so I'll just explain, and I'm sure Sue will weigh in to the extent that she needs to. We received an initial peer review in early August, on the 5th of August. We replied on August 18th before the last hearing, and basically we revised all of the plans to accommodate the suggested and recommended questions to be answered. And we received a second review on September 29th. Basically, and Sue will presumably summarize this also shortly, most or all of the items that were previously referenced have been addressed. And it appears to us, at least, that the items that remain could be, to the extent that the board was considered of approving a site plan approval for building 400, could include the remaining items as conditions, specifically a recommendation that there be no chemical testing within this facility. And members of the TUV team told you last time that there would be no biological or chemical testing. And secondly, that an approval not required plan that would create the lot that we've described a moment ago would also show the various cross easements to make sure that each owner, when there are more than one owners, are protected. And then there was a discussion relative to the existing stormwater system. And on that, Campanelli Companies has hired a third-party company that has, in the process of fully inventorying all of the stormwater on the site. As you know, Campanelli Companies only owns this property for about a year. And so we want to have a full inventory as much as the town and the board would. So to that end, they've begun that process on building 400 and determined that there were certain structures that needed some repair and mortaring of joints and the like, and certain pipes and structures that needed to be cleaned and maintained. And our expectation is that there will be an operation and maintenance plan developed that will address specifically those and ongoing, as would be typical in any project, and I assume would be a standard condition of the board. I wanted to give you just a quick update. Mr. Chairman, you mentioned earlier the Conservation Commission. So at the last hearing, that a part of my presentation was that there was no Conservation Commission jurisdiction, and I misspoke. There is no buffer zone to wetlands that enters the proposed limit of work. However, a small portion of the bottom of the site that possibly Jeff or whoever is running the video can describe to you. I just lost my screen. If you can hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you, Jeff. So if you look at this, Mr. Chairman, you will see the pink line at the bottom reflects the wetlands. There's a second pink or magenta line that says 100-foot buffer. That's the buffer zone, actually, to which I was speaking of last time. What I didn't realize is that there's a series of flags south of the wetlands that are denoted as mean high water line, or therefore edge of the riverfront area. And so there is a 200-foot riverfront that extends onto the property. If you look at the plan, you'll see that blue dash line. That reflects the limit of the 200-foot riverfront area. So we have sent the plan that you see to the Conservation Commission administrator and asked that the commission make a determination as to what process they would like to see. What we've described to them, and I can describe to you now, is that the only work that's happening within that limit of work is a small reconfiguration of a landscape island with an added actually green area, and just a repaving of the existing parking lot that's 20 years old and needs to be repaved. No change to the limit of work. The project will provide other benefits, such as an operation and maintenance plan for the stormwater that I just described, but also an upgrade of the on-site stormwater system by providing stormwater recharge from the roof, as discussed at the last hearing, as presented at the last hearing. So we think that the commission will most likely require a request for determination of applicability, and hopefully issue a negative determination. As soon as we get that determination from them, the determination of the permit process, which will be this Wednesday evening, we'll file that, and we assume that the commission would act affirmatively on the project, since it provides nothing but benefit to the brook and no impact. So that's an update, just quickly, Mr. Chairman, on the Conservation Commission. I'd like to touch on two more items quickly, if I could. Firstly, MIPA, and there was a question last time, and I gave a general overview. But just to provide a more detailed discussion on that, just so the board is up to date on where we are on that subject. We noted at the last hearing that this is a very unusual case when it comes to MIPA or state permitting. Prior certificates were issued by the MIPA office, Massachusetts Environmental Policy Act office. All the permits were issued, all state permits were issued, and all mitigation was completed, but the project was never fully constructed. Honestly, I've never seen a project like this. I told you that last time. I'm not sure the MIPA office has ever seen a project like that, where all of the mitigation that was agreed upon by the state permits, and all those state permits were issued, but the project was never fully built. There may have happened, but certainly anybody we've spoken with the MIPA office wasn't familiar with it. So we've been in close contact with the MIPA office since the beginning of this project. And the MIPA office asked, before they made a determination if there would be any action on the Building 400 project in particular, or in general on the balance of the property, they asked for us to request and coordinate with the DOT office to get their way in. DOT made a determination last week via email to our traffic consultant. And if I could just quote, they said that they would support the proponent's request to move forward with the initial development of the Building 400 development due to its limited impact. What they determined was, as we had told them, is that the traffic generation that results from the building 400 is substantially lower, about 170 trips lower than what was previously proposed for this site, and that adequate infrastructure has already been constructed to accommodate it. And they agreed with that and made the determination that I just noted. So our next step is to provide that information. We've already done that to the MIPA office, and we're waiting to hear back from them. It's our hope and expectation that they will agree that the Building 400 project falls within its previously reviewed scope, and that project could move forward while we're trying to determine the best route for the remainder of the property, or the master plan, as Johanna had described earlier. That may take the form of a notice of project change and a supplemental EIR. We're not sure. So we're optimistic that the MIPA office, based on the DOT review and their direction to us to seek that DOT review, will agree that this project could move forward without any further action by the MIPA office. If I could just give a quick open space update, Mr. Chairman, because at the last meeting, the board read into the letter a record from the Boxborough Conservation Trust relating to open space and related issues on the property. Since then, we've reviewed that letter and dug through our files and recorded information to get a good understanding of what's going on the property. We've also engaged John Rockwood of Ecotech Inc., who is a specialist relating to NHESP issues, wetlands, and other such matters. And what we've determined is that number one, there is a priority habitat area that envelops most of the undeveloped property, and that priority habitat area has been actually in effect since prior to 2000, prior to when this board acted last on the master permit. What we also determined is that a conservation and management permit was issued by the NHESP in 2000 that allowed the Phase 2 project, which would be a part of the master plan that we've now asked you to delay your review of, could proceed, providing that two areas were permanently restricted by a conservation restriction, and that other protective measures were put in place. The permit, the CMP, the Conservation Management Permit, is still valid. The CRs were created and recorded and exist and permanently restrict 109 acres on the property, and turtle barriers were installed around both the current limit of work and that proposed Phase 2 limit of work, which would describe the Phase 2 master plan that we're not proposing to develop at this point. And additionally, we discovered, and the board probably know, that there was an additional 44 acres of land that was put in an open space restrictive covenant that was agreed upon in connection with prior permits with the board. So essentially, relating to open space, a conservation management permit was issued. That permit is still valid for the project in its entirety, including Phase 2. And the mitigation agreed upon in that permit was put in place. And in addition to that, additional open space was protected as a part of prior agreements with the community. So, Mr. Chairman, that's an overview, and that's a lot, I know, but I'm here to address any specific questions that you might have on any of these subjects. Thank you.
Thanks, David. I just have a couple questions before we're going to open it up to the board and ultimately the public. You mentioned the stormwater, your plan to update the stormwater plan. Are you going to meet current stormwater rules and regulations for the new lot that the A&R lot that you're proposing?
Yes, we would actually exceed it, Mr. Chairman, because the existing stormwater system that was put in and permitted and approved by this board in 2000 has all of those pieces, but we understood that the town is particularly interested because of the proximity here to additional recharge, which we've designed for the roof and coordinated with Sue Carter as a part of her review.
Okay. So the parking that's required for this building is determined, I think, if I read our bylaw parking regulations correctly, is based on the number of employees in the building. So do you know how many employees will occupy this building? I'm sure the applicant must have some idea. They're asking.
I think it's based on square footage, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, and I just want to. I need to open the drawings and look, and possibly Russell or his team have them open in front of them right now. But the math is that we would need 256 parking spaces for this use. For the phase one use, you remember we described the ability to put a 20,000 square foot addition on at some point in the future. That's dashed on the plan that you see, but is not a part of this application. We would have to come back to discuss that in more detail. We just wanted to make sure that we didn't design the project in a way that interfered with the future obability to build that. And so the parking is based on 3.3 spaces per 1,000 square feet based on the open space commercial district permit that was previously issued, with the requirement to be able to show the ability to put 4 per 1,000 on the site, which is the zoning requirement. So we have 256 spaces shown in their entirety on the site. 248 are going to be built on the ground, and there are 8 shown as future land bank spaces to meet that 4 per 1,000 requirement. So it's actually per 1,000 square feet, Mr. Chairman, and not employees in this particular use.
Okay, so I haven't found R&D yet, but I did find manufacturing, wholesale operations, public utility buildings, other than business offices, warehouses, and similar uses, right? It says 1 space per employee plus 1 space for each vehicle used in the operation. I'm looking for the R&D to see if that's different. But
it is, Mr. Chairman. That's right. It is a 4 per 1,000 under normal zoning. But the board allowed 3.3 in the SCV permit. I need to pull the bylaw up and reference that particular section, but possibly somebody else has it in front of them.
okay. Well, I don't see it, but that's fine.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll look into that.
Sorry, Mark, I found it in the zoning table. It's 1 space for 250 feet of gross floor area for a number of uses, including research and development facilities. Is that the designation here?
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, but that's different than the calculation you just came up with, which is, oh no, you said 4 per 1,000, so that,
right.
that equates, okay. But you were also using a 3.3 under the special permit, is that correct? 3.3 spaces.
That's correct. The prior special permit allowed 3.3 per 1,000. I think the board felt, as do most modern boards, that less parking is better, providing there's enough to meet the needs.
So using
I agree. I think that we should have fewer spaces even than perhaps 3.3.
So using 3.3, don't you come up with 211 spaces?
Yes, but the majority of the parking spaces exist on the site, and we're trying to have enough spaces to accommodate the next phase of use as well, so that we have limited interruption when that phase comes along.
Well, we're used to in Boxborough, these phases taking decades, if not longer, if not possibly not even occurring in the future. So putting the parking in place and creating the impervious surface in anticipation of future growth is not necessarily what we would like.
Well, if I could just comment, Mr. Chairman, and if that's okay, really, we're not building spaces, we're taking them away. We're just not taking as many spaces away as would get us to the 211.
Understood.
Yeah.
Sue.
I had previously asked the question. One of the things that we was mentioned previously was some of these excess spaces are being used for snow storage. And in this case, it's a good thing because it allows the melting snow water to drain back into the drainage system where it will be pre-treated before it's discharged into the groundwater and into their drainage system. So initially I looked at it as, can we get rid of the spaces? But having it paved does give some benefit to having the stormwater go into their man-made basins that are off-site from this particular lot. That way we capture most of the pollutants into the drainage system rather than having the snow melt and go into the ground.
That's a great point. I didn't think of that. So, well, that brings me to something else. Is that snow removal plan included with the application? Okay.
It was shown on one of the plans, yes.
Okay. Well, that's a great answer. A couple of things about the building. These may not be for David, who seems more like an engineer type, but there's a couple of things that struck me about the building. One is it seems to be, I mean, its footprint is very large relative to the building beside it, and it seems to be encroaching on the street in a way that the other building isn't, and it's going to be more prominent relative to the viewscape from the street. And I was wondering about the possibility of turning the building. And then I have just another comment about the finishes on the building. It's kind of hard from the elevation to figure out what the finishes are, but the other building has some really nice brickwork, and I've noticed that this building doesn't seem to have any of it. And I'm wondering how it's going to fit into the viewscape with what looks like it could be, maybe is it metal that's being used? Can anyone from that Campanelli team speak to that?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, we can speak to that. So we have actually studied this building fitting on this site in multiple ways. We've tested multiple footprints in multiple configurations in giving the use of 64,000 square feet on day one with TUV with an expansion of 15,000, which they expect to realize in the first 3 to 4 years of their growth plan here. This is the geometry of a site plan that worked the most efficient within the existing limits of the development of the site. As David has said several times in his presentation, the existing disturbed areas in Jeff, if you could just point out to the far right-hand curb set of the site, remain intact the way they are today and the way we showed you at the site walk. The building is well set off the front of the property, well beyond the requirement of open space commercial districts. This building is a single-story building. However, due to its functionality in some of the testing chambers that will be inside this building requires essentially a 31-foot clear height, which essentially gives the building a massing of about 2 stories. The building that you see in the background of this rendering is the 4-story office building set back from the street with a pretty large parking lot in front. These are very subjective types of opinions about height and whether you're looking over parking lots or not. I can tell you that this is the best fit. This is the best site plan fit. We've been able to accommodate the trucking, which is only 3 docks with no sight line to the street. And we've been able to not encroach the street any further and go into any of the vegetation that's there for any need for parking. So we've tested the site. We're very, very content that this is the right solution. As far as the building materials, when you do a 30-foot high wall, this is an energy efficient skin. You can't build a 30-foot wall in brick and comply to the building code and make it energy efficient in a building like this. This is a building that is a precast concrete insulated panel, which gets assembled in a controlled environment off-site and brought onto the site and put up. This is a very, very common construction technique for buildings of this nature, complying to the energy code today, and this building envelope will go beyond the code requirements. What we tried to do here is, in the absence of brick, is we've reused a lot of the detailing that you see in the other building. We have metal panels that are at the top of the building, in the cornice of the building, in the same color, in the same textures that you see on the existing office buildings. We also have corner window articulation and metal panels that open up the corners of the building, very similar to the existing office buildings. We have an articulated entrance with an entrance canopy. We have some punch windows with a header detail. Those items essentially emulate and repeat elements used on the other buildings. We just aren't able to use brick here.
Okay, thanks. I think we'll just open it up to the board for now. Does the board have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Cindy.
Yeah, I guess I have several comments. Just I guess while we're talking about building location and design, I agree with Mark. Just in terms of visually, I don't know whether there's the option to put some kind of a brick facade to match this, but this just looks like a very large white mass. And given the proximity to the street, even though it does meet the setbacks, I'd like to see the applicant try to do something to soften the look of the building, or to integrate it a little bit with the other buildings on that campus. I'm a little confused about the addition in the back. I keep hearing 15,000 square feet, but then I'm also seeing a total of 84,000, which would be a 20,000 square foot. So I was hoping Campanelli could clarify that number. And well, I'll let you clarify that number, and then I'll ask my follow-up question on that.
I believe it's a 15,000 square foot addition that we've been planning all along. I can confirm that, but that's the best of my knowledge as I sit here this evening.
Okay, because given now that the proximity of the riverfront area, my request would be, could the building be pushed back and potentially closer to the back of the lot? Whether that reduces your ability to put on that extension. Maybe it does, but I'd like to see the building pushed a little further back. So those are my design questions. If you could go to that zoning page where you've got the measurements from the 2000 zoning and the OCSD zoning. I had a couple questions about that table.
Yeah, before we go there, Cindy, if I just
Sure.
may, Jeff, could you put the cursor on the expansion line? The dashed line here represents the expansion of the building in the future. Still stays within the area where the paving of the parking lot will be removed today. And it remains within the limit of development today. You can see the perimeter of the parking lot below. If we move the building any further back, we would limit the building's expansion potential in the future. So I just wanted to show you that diagram there. And right now, the building, the corner, the lower left-hand corner, just straddles that 200-foot riverfront line in an already degraded area because it's already developed into a full site plan with utilities. Okay, so now the other question was the table of dimensional compliances. If you could go there. But this table.
Yes.
Cindy, what was your question here? And I can help you out.
So again, because this is part of that larger master plan, when you're doing the let's see, the lot coverage, I guess, is a standalone number. The 51% of the lot is just the lot. So that makes sense to me. But the FAR, are you assuming the entire campus, or what are you using for your base number? What is the denominator, I guess, for the 64,000 that you came up with, the 0.176 FAR?
we are using the 363,785,000 square feet of the lot configuration. So we're not using the entire park. We're just using the FAR within the individualized lot.
Okay, so that's 64,000 over the 363,000. I'm sorry, is that the number you were referencing just then?
Right.
Okay. All right.
So when you go for your A&R plan, you're going to, there is a cap, I believe, on the old special permit for how much your maximum lot coverage can be. And it seems, can you guys speak to that versus the entire site? Because I think there's two separate numbers for an open space special permit that need to be considered.
David Kelly, could you respond to?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so this chart has both actually, right? So if you look at the right-hand half of the chart, it compares the now proposed project to what was previously granted in the OSCD permit in 2000. So 0.75 is actually allowed under that OSCD permit if we're talking about FAR. As we noted, we're at 0.176. And the idea of that was that there's some vast areas, some of which we described earlier, that are going to be permanent open space on the property.
Okay, yeah, so you guys basically gave, well, not you guys, but Cisco gave up. They permanently protected half of their real estate. And so they're allowed to have a higher lot coverage as compensation in the developable areas, right?
Well, I think some of it is permanently protected, Mr. Chairman. Some of it is not. I think it's 350 acres in its entirety here. But what it said is you can only develop X. And within the prior phase 1 and phase 2 master plan, I can't remember the total number, but it was quite a bit less than the 0.75 was allowed.
But the special permit initially granted was an open space special permit, right?
That's correct.
That special permit required a certain amount of land to be permanently protected. And I believe today it's 50%. Was it 50% back then?
It was more than that, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. It's quite
the conservation and open space today equates to 235 acres of land. The built and permitted parcels from the previous permit accounts for 106 acres of land. 106 represents 30% of the land. The entire parcel has been permitted for development. Okay. 70% of the parcel has been deeded conservation or open space. And that was the cluster planning device used between Tower Mark and the planning board at that time. At one time, I did calculate what the number you were looking for. The original permit allowed Cisco 1.4 million square feet of development in 2 phases, a 900,000 square foot phase 1 permit and a 500,000 square foot phase 2 permit. I don't have that number in front of me of what that equated to an FAR over the entire 340 acres, but I could get back to you on that.
That would be great. Thank you. Rebecca.
Cindy, you're all done?
I'll have some more questions, but I'm struggling a little with the hybridization of some of this permanently protected open space as part of phase 2 and what's phase 1, but let's keep moving on and I'll come back to those questions. Go ahead.
So I guess since we're on the topic, I'm questioning the relief that's being sought on this as well. Campanelli, don't they own all of these parcels out there?
Yes, we do.
Okay, why, so, I'm wondering why we have to divide the lot into, or why the lot is divided, or why it could not be, you know, you could not dissolve a property line, I suppose, you know, in between the two buildings. Is that out of the question?
Well, there's many reasons for that, but the primary reason today is collateral for a construction loan. The collateral for the construction loan on TUV, as we borrow from a bank, will be limited to this lot only, not all the other lots. So that's just a financial piece. Furthermore, these lots have been subdivided in the past under an A&R plan, and they can be transacted on independently. Cisco has been a single park tenant and a single owner of this park. Campanelli is a single owner of this park today, but in the future, there will be users that would like to buy a lot in this subdivision from us, and we'd like to accommodate that. So right now, the current A&R plan has 10 lots within the development areas. And those lots could be changed, of course, in compliance with your regulations.
Thank you. So just following up on that, I wonder if we're creating, I mean, in the future, those lot lines could change further, is what I'm going for here. I'm wondering if the board has any concern about that. Do you think we could get a copy of this presentation, actually?
Absolutely. We
That'd be wonderful.
did forward the presentation from the opening hearing, and we have that here too. And I would like to go, Jeff, to the open permitted park slide to answer Cindy's question. So this slide, can you see that slide here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So let me just borrow the mouse. Let me just reacquaint you to the property. This is the entrance to the park. This is Beaverbrook Road, which goes from Swenson Road all the way out to Littleton County Road. As you pull into the park, Building 200, which exists today on its own lot, Building 300, which exists today on its own lot. Lot 1 is vacant. Lot 4, as we've defined, has all of its site and utility infrastructure in place, is here. Lot 5 is the four-story office building completed here. Lot 6 is similar to Lot 4. There's a foundation in the ground, full site utility. You can see some of the parking here. And then here is where the solar field was installed. This was phase 1, which included lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the permit for phase 1 was for 900,000 square feet of development. The permit for phase 2, which was originally part of a golf course, and by the way, the golf course was permitted to go into the conservation restrictions. The golf course has been abandoned, so that's no longer on the table years ago. There's 3 lots here, lot A, B, and C, which was permitted under NEPA and through an open space commercial district permit for 500,000 square feet of 3- and 4-story office buildings. There was 3 of them planned here. So you can see, as we said earlier on a question to Mark, essentially we have 341 acres of land, all shown in either green or yellow here. 70%, 235 acres, is either open space or conservation restriction, and 106 acres is either built on or previously permitted parcels. So I think this just helps remind us of what the condition of the property today is.
Thank you. So can you,
Mark?
do you have something else?
I have more questions.
You have more questions?
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
I heard mention of roof recharge. Is the water on the roof being collected and diverted to subsurface? Yeah,
That's correct. Yes.
thank you. That's great. Let's see. Oh, the application, this is small, but I just noted, and I think we noted it before, that the project application checklist, the 100 to 200 foot buffer is not checked off on that application, and we likely should have that updated. And then I had a question about some sustainability efforts out here. I'm hoping that we might be able to see something in and around the future proposal for solar. Has there been any plans for that? I do recall that during our site walk, it was mentioned that would maybe be a future installation, but it would be great if we had something on record and with the planning board or in and around that.
Sure, Rebecca.
Yeah.
TUV has engaged Select Solar as a solar consultant, that they are working with them to understand their electric loads within the building and planning a solar array that fits on the building within the rooftop equipment for the building. TUV has a very strong sustainability commitment, and they will put solar on this building. One of the things we want to work out with the board is how the condition is written. And I made a recommendation in the first hearing that the condition be written that the solar would not be in place at time of occupancy, because it just can't be done. You can't procure the materials and procure any type of incentives to do the solar in the time frame to build the building. We've done this in other business parks, and we've done it with other tenants. In the MEPA office in the Division of Alternative Energy as well allows for solar to be integrated into a project at a slightly different date than the certificate of occupancy. And we would work with you to do that. So TUV is committed to a solar initiative. The other very large sustainability principle, which this project will be, is there is a gas line to this site, already in the ground. We will not be using gas as the primary heat source for this building. We will not be bringing gas to this building. This building will be entirely heated by electric heat pump technology, and we're looking forward to doing that as well. And that's a non-fossil fuel piece. So those are the two large sustainability pieces. The smaller pieces are, of course, very straightforward things: water conservation, low flow fixtures, water from the roof being brought into infiltration basins. We are also doing all LED lighting and lighting controls and energy management systems. Those are types of things that are somewhat standard to buildings today, but they offer great savings in energy usage.
That's great. Thank you. I wonder, I guess I ask about the solar, both from a sustainability standpoint, but also the orientation of these, how high do they stand off the building? That I think, adds to the overall height of the building. So it would be helpful to just understand that a little bit more. Other efforts might be using different ground covers in lieu of lawn around the building. I don't know if that's something that you might entertain. I did note that most of your plant materials are going in the native direction, which is definitely appreciated. Would you be interested, and I don't know if Sue actually has an opinion about this, with water collection in the parking area, but it's to redo the paving. Would there ever be a consideration for porous paving on this, on some of the lots? And then beyond that, you mentioned the lighting, which, yes, I saw the LED spec. And I did have a question as to whether that was dark sky compliant or not. I did not see anything labeled as such, and I may have missed it, so forgive me if I did. And I believe that the light poles in the parking lot were addressed, but I had questions about building mounted light fixtures, and there's existing bollards on site as well that I'm assuming might need to be retrofitted.
All of the lighting will be dark sky compliance. If it's not in the spec, we will make sure that the spec has that criteria. I know the entire park was updated to an LED program about 3.5 years ago, and all of the lighting that had been installed is dark sky compliant. And the goal here is to have the fixtures that get revised on lot 4. Quite a few of them remain untouched, but there are a pole or two that needs to be adjusted to be the same. As far as the bollards, I don't believe we've submitted a spec on sidewalk bollards at this point. If you want to see a spec, we can do that. And then as far as lights on the building, they're really, they're not meant to be lighting extensive areas of parking lot. They're really just utilitarian lighting required by code at egress doors to the building and also at the loading dock area, which is out of sight from the Beaverbrook Parkway there. And I don't believe we've submitted the specs on those because they're not lights that are up in the air. They're really lights that are adjacent to a pedestrian door. We certainly can provide the specs on those lights.
Thank you. Last comment, I did notice that you, thank you for incorporating some of the trees to remain on site or be removed. I noted that that was all included, but I think it would be very helpful to get a tree protection plan for the board, and likewise include details on what that protection might be for your trees out there. Oftentimes we see, a fencing detail or whatnot, just like, as a standard. So that's my last comment. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
So what will be the hours of operation for the for the lighting of the parking lot? Is that intended to be on 24 hours or do you guys shut it off at a certain time?
Well, right now, Mark, it varies. The park has a night setback, essentially because 2 of the buildings are vacant, and Cisco uses building 300. And those lights, they're generally not there at night, but occasionally there is a maintenance person or cleaning people. And I couldn't recite to you what their sequence of lighting is, but I know that the current sequence of lighting is a night setback. There are lights that are on for safety and security, but they're all not on. This is not a shopping mall or used car sales lot. TUV's hours of operation are not limited to any hours during the day. They're not a 24-hour facility, but they're not prohibited from working 24 hours. There's occasionally a testing that could go on for a period of time that may have a night monitor, and we'll have to work through that program with TUV.
Thanks. Mark.
Thanks. Well, rather than throwing a bunch of questions, I'm going to say that this seems pretty straightforward to me. There's less impervious surfaces, there's less traffic, there's less impacts basically overall. The lot's made exactly for this type of building and this type of development. So, I mean, those are, positives. And the applicant has been receptive to pretty much everything we've thrown at them. And the prospective tenant has a good track record. So, those, again, are all good things. And I think this should be doable. And I guess the bottom line here is, will this board, allow this to proceed under the existing permits being modified? Or are we going to send the applicant back to the beginning? And I'm certainly in favor of doing the former, not the latter. And if so, then basically what we're really going to be talking about is conditions, which sounds like half of the discussion we've been having here is about the potential conditions that we would put on it. And I haven't heard anybody balk very much at it. So I think that makes it all sound eminently doable. But I think what the applicant wants to hear is which path are we going to take so that they can tell their prospective tenant that this is going to happen sooner than later. Because if we go back to the drawing board, we're going to be here for a long time. And again, this lot was built for this, and it's disturbed land. This isn't raw woods that we're talking about. This has all been protected 7 ways to Sunday. And so I'd like to see us get moving on this, because otherwise we're just going to keep coming back and saying the same thing. So let's pick a path and then follow it.
Thanks, Mark. Could I get an elevation up on the screen of the building?
Close-up rendering.
So you mentioned concrete and you mentioned metal. Can you just kind of give us an overview of the wall construction?
Sure. So the gray/silver panels up at the top of the building and a protruding cornice line are metal panels that will emulate the metal panels that you see at the cornice line of the buildings that exist there today. The corner piece, if you want to move the cursor, the gray and silver delineated panels here at the corner are also a metal panel architectural feature that grabs the corner and goes around to the side. The blue banding, if you go to the aerial rendering, Jeffrey, you can see that corner goes around to the side. It does that on the other side of the building as well. That's a horizontal window motif that is seen on the other buildings where the metal panels are on the side. If you could go back to the elevation. Right there. And then the rest of the building is essentially a precast insulated concrete skin building, which has punch windows and it has some textured coatings. The entrance has a 1.5 story glass feature with a canopy. It describes the development of buildings. This building, there's multiple buildings that are been built or being built as we speak in Devens for uses very similar to TUV. Devens is a leader attraction in life science uses, in this very same construction technique is being used in all of the buildings there for the last 15 years. And as we speak, very common for buildings of this height that need to have a clear story to house the functions of the building.
And the color scheme, is that something that is, that the tenant is chosen to fit with their marketing, or how did you come up with the color scheme?
We feel that the color scheme it does fit with the TUV Rhineland color scheme. Okay, the blues and the grays work out quite nice, and the white is just such a non-offensive color. It just sort of goes into the background of the landscape, and it just plays a very subdominant envelope to the rest of the window patterns and the canopies and the metal paneling of the building. Any other color would contrast it and be yelling for its own attention. And yeah, the TUV has seen these renderings several months ago, and I just want to comment, and I mentioned this before, TUV and Campanelli have executed a lease. We don't have a lease that's contingent upon this permitting. We have a lease that's been signed and executed, and we've developed a building. We've spent a lot of time with our architects and engineers. TUV has spent an enormous amount of investment in energy, understanding the flow of this building from a functionality perspective, how they'll train and how this will become a corporate centerpiece for them. And the way this building functions has been worked on for almost a year at this point. We started last August with TUV, so it's been a year and 2 months actually, but.
Okay, so is there any other comments from the board? Bearing in mind that probably won't be entertaining a vote on this tonight until we have our legal counsel at the meeting, and he is scheduled to be at the next meeting. Cindy?
Yeah, I understand that you submitted a traffic study to DOT, and you did provide that to us. Thank you for that. I believe Tracy had requested, and I'm maybe getting my applicants mixed up, but I thought that if you folks were amenable that we could have our traffic consultant review that, do a peer review of that. I know that the numbers are showing a reduced number from your original projections. However, when the Section 61 findings from DOT came out, I mean, we were talking the year 2000. You know, I noticed that they're mentioning very low numbers at some of the businesses on Swanson Road, but I would like to have that professionally reviewed to make sure that the assumptions that you're using for both 400 and then how it relates to the Section 61 findings are being peer reviewed. So is that is Campanelli amenable to that, or has that already been? Is that underway?
Yes, Cindy, we don't have any problem with you peer reviewing that, and I can just give you the real short version of what was in the original permit back in 2003 was 149,000 square foot, 3-story office building. What is now being considered is a 64,000 square foot office and R&D facility. And essentially, the last time I counted, I think we had about 20 to 21,000 square feet of space in this building that is actually office. And the remaining 51 to 52,000 square feet is a combination of various testing labs, testing chambers, in interstitial space for restrooms and break rooms and training rooms that make up the other space. So you're going from a 149,000 square foot office to a 64,000 square foot office and R&D building. So, but yes, please, you have the report, please have it peer reviewed, happy to pay that expense.
So I can appreciate that. I just wanted to note that the prior use, I believe, was intended to be office. This is now R&D and could potentially be a future, different future use, but given that you've got some loading docks, I don't believe I saw truck trips broken out of your traffic report, but maybe it's in there. But I did want to differentiate that, you know, Swanson Road is still a residential as well as commercial roadway. And, you know, I just want to understand what the truck traffic impact might be. Even if the total number of trips is reduced, just want to point that out. So thank you for the offer to have it peer reviewed. And I think Tracy may have already got somebody lined up to do that, but we'll get right on it. I don't want that to hold up the, you know, the rest of the approval process. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Obviously, there's been a lot of changes in Boxborough since 2000. So the tributary roads, well, not the tributary roads, but the primary road that this will be outletting to has seen changes from other projects. So a traffic study review will help put it into context. I think we should all consider any conditions for the next meeting. So maybe we can wrap this up at the next meeting. So we can all put our thinking caps on. And if this is approvable, we can start putting conditions on paper. So just keep that in mind. And I'd like to open this discussion up to the audience. Any audience member who would like to have a question answered or make a comment, please raise your hand. And if you don't know how to raise your hand, you can signal us some other way. That would be great. And I'm not seeing anyone, which is good. So I'd like to have our attorney. Oh, I see Janet's hand up. Go ahead, Janet.
This is a quick one. It might be more for you, Mark. Because the expansion is included in the site plans that have been submitted for review, will the expansion be approved in this cycle right now?
So they're asking us to amend their existing extend and amend the existing special permit. So we're reviewing this right now, I think as an amendment to the existing special permit and a site plan review. Unless I'm missing something, am I missing anything, anyone? So hearing
Janet,
nothing.
are you referring to the 64,000 square foot building versus an additional 15,000 square feet?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Because I think there was a comment, maybe I misunderstood an earlier comment in the filing to the Conservation Commission that the filing will be for the 64,000 square foot building. And then if you decide to do something in the future, you might have to go back to the Conservation Commission. Is that same two-step applicable to the planning board permitting?
We could do it either way.
Okay.
I'm partial to not permitting things for the future that may never come to pass, which result in a future modification anyways. So I'd prefer to just permit what is being offered currently and not speculate on the future, but the board could do either.
I'm just saying because it's shown on the plan, it's a dash line or whatever. Is that a request to be approved or not? How, that's what I'm trying to understand.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Dave.
Possibly, I could, thank you. Just to sort of clear this up, the reason we dashed it on is so that we could design the site in a way that didn't interfere with that potential future expansion. As Russell said, we're not sure when that will happen. It may be soon, but the idea would be that we would be back to you because we have not fully designed the site to accommodate it. We've designed a site to make sure we didn't interfere with that expansion in the future, such as when we're relocating the water line at the back of the building, we're relocating it around that future addition as well. So we have not designed the site for this 15,000 square foot addition. I misspoke earlier. I said 20. It was 20 at one point, but we're showing it only for the purposes of making sure that our design doesn't interfere with that future expansion.
Okay, that clarification is helpful to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we can permit this. We can give a nod to the fact that they are planning a potential expansion, and we can give instructions on how to come back to the board at a later date in this decision, if we decide to approve it. So, okay. So with that in mind, I hope the board agrees that we should just wait one more meeting and talk to Adam, and we should try and get our conditions for an affirmative decision together to bring up at the next meeting. I would like to continue this. Would someone care to entertain a motion to continue this to our next meeting?
Mr. Chairman, Russell, I have one question and one comment before you continue. Is that permissible?
Sure.
Okay. First off, I want to just thank the board for this discussion tonight. I think it's been helpful for everybody in attendance. If the board is amenable and if the board wanted to release town council to discuss this project with Johanna Schneider and David Kelly, with Tracy present and perhaps any other staff members that wanted to, we could begin that process immediately and be pretty expedient moving towards the next meeting if the board found that to be an appropriate path. I would certainly make that request. The second item, and this is more of guidance for us because each town does it differently. I didn't know if you wanted our team to take a first stab at the conditions of the permit. David Kelly's office and Johanna Schneider's office does that often in many towns. Boxborough may not prefer to have it done that way, or they may prefer have it done that way. I just wanted to make you aware of that, and would be very happy to begin to put together a draft based on the conditions that have been discussed this evening.
Well, there's I think there's a difference of opinion on the board on both counts. One is whether or not our legal counsel and your legal counsel should be holding a discussion that the board will not have any knowledge of. And there was, personally, I don't really have a problem with that. If we send our legal counsel in with instructions, I know he will follow them. But some of the board members didn't, I don't think are interested in that, but I think we can certainly hold a vote tonight and have a quick discussion on that. And the same holds true with draft decisions from the applicant. Personally, I don't feel bound by any conditions that are proposed by the applicant. I actually find it helpful, but I know that some board members are, they bristle a little at that. So I think if we do either, we need to hold a vote on both separately at this meeting. So should we, as a board, why don't we just take them one at a time? And Cindy, go ahead.
Yeah, before we get to that, I guess I would just like to know, I think the applicant has gotten some feedback both at the site visit and at this meeting. And I'm just curious whether the applicant plans to make any modifications to the proposal based on the feedback before we start drafting conditions. I'm just curious as to whether there is going to be any additional modifications based on the feedback, or if that's something you need to think about a little bit.
No, Cindy, I feel that the one item that I'm looking at my list, we just need to check a little bit on the lighting fixtures. We should check on a little bit of the ground cover, plant material, but the configuration of the building, the design of the building, and the location of the building, we're confident it's the right location and the right solution for this tenant for this park. So I don't envision any changes there.
And relative to any other sustainability measures, we didn't discuss EV parking, but it was a suggestion from our consulting engineer that EV parking might be increased. There was mention of porous paving to increase permeability. There was mention of, I think you indicated you're working on some solar design, but probably wouldn't have anything for us, but any kind of commitment you could make as to what amount of wattage you anticipate from the solar, things like that. Is any of that going to supplement what we've seen here tonight?
I know on the solar piece, I can't give you any kind of kilowatt piece. I know that, it's all going to be a function of square footage. We have 64,000 square feet. We need to stay away from the edge of the roof. So that will be a function that we come down to. The EV parking, I know we're committed to doing that. I can't remember if we had 2 spaces and we're bumping it up to 4. David may remember. David, do you recall what we're doing on the EV parking?
We have 2 shown, Russell, at the moment.
And I think the recommendation was to bump it up to 4, and we don't have any issues with doing that. And as far as the impervious paving, I'd like to talk about that extensively as we go forward in the open space commercial district permits going forward, because there's pros and cons about that type of paving. And in this case, as David indicated, we're removing on this lot well over an acre of paving, and to the best of our ability. And if we find during that discussion that we all agree to a certain level of certain types of impervious paving makes sense, then we can perhaps come back and put a percentage of spaces here that way. But I think the cleaner way to the finish line is to not address that question today.
Russell, can I make a clarification? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, to be running around here, but there are 2 relative to EV. There are 2 charging stations, but they can accommodate 4 vehicles. I just want to be clear.
Okay, great. Thank you, David.
Oh, so you put them on the sideline of two adjacent parking lot spaces.
That's correct.
Okay.
And they're directly across from the front door of the building.
Okay. Does the board have any interest in voting on or discussing their receptiveness to Campanelli creating a draft decision with conditions?
I'm okay with it. Do we need to
I'm
vote?
also okay with it because I don't feel like I'm bound by anything that
Right.
they put in, and it just gives me ideas, sometimes things I didn't even think of.
Right, they just take the load off of our town planner, and then we can always add or delete what we find unpalatable.
I just want to make sure that all of our standard conditions, get married up. It becomes laborious, having done this before, to compare the two. I'm willing to assist in doing it. Certainly if Tracy can manage it, that's fine, but there are a lot of conditions that, we want to make sure get incorporated. So it's just, the wording gets mangled. It becomes laborious, but I'm fine with it. If the applicant wants to submit something, I'd be okay with that.
You can always crumple it up and throw it away.
We can coordinate with Tracy and maybe get a set of your standard conditions and use that as a starting place so that we're not making more work for the board than necessary.
Can I ask a question while we're just very high level on the conditions? In the past, the board has indicated that monitoring at the groundwater, monitoring of the groundwater wells, and that data should be collected and submitted. Has Campanelli picked up on any of that from the prior Cisco efforts? Because that is a standard condition that we are trying to implement. I'm just curious whether Campanelli is doing it for the prior site approval decision.
Cindy, I'll have to get back to you on that. But I will tell you from my first-hand experience, I've read some groundwater monitoring well data that is close to the well and also closer to the wastewater discharge area. I will tell you that there's no tenants in the park today that is discharging into the discharge area, so there's no issues there. The wastewater treatment facility can only operate effectively with a certain amount of flow, and the amount of flow coming from Cisco is below that, so that system is shut off and any waste generated is trucked off site. That will change soon with TUV and Intel, and Cisco is coming back to the office. Each week it's a little greater and a little greater, so all good. I've not seen the entire park, but I will engage our property management group and get back to you on that.
Thank you.
So, Johanna, just so you're aware, we typically carry forward old special permit conditions and rewrite them or reference them somehow in the new decision. And that will include reduced salt on the parking lots, and maybe a newer one that trucks with metered salt, that they don't just willy-nilly throw the salt down. It's got to be metered and controlled for the parking is something that I personally would like to see, given our problems with salinity in the area. And the water testing, it used to go to the Littleton Water Department for testing, and we had somebody there who would work hand in glove with our Water Resources Committee. So if we could specify that in the in any conditions that you write, that would be helpful. And I would also, I see Sue's hand up, which is good, because actually we haven't really gotten much of an overview from our consultant, so it would be great to get any thoughts on this project. So go ahead, Sue.
There we go. Had to unmute it there. I had listed a couple of recommended conditions in my letter. One of them was salt. But I just wanted to make a comment that this project is a little different in terms of monitoring wells, because you have the wastewater treatment plant and you don't have on-site disposal. You may want to consider having some monitoring wells put around where they have their large basins for stormwater, because stormwater is not actually being discharged within the lot, it's going to a larger basin. So we may want to look at the big picture rather than consider this as, you know, a single lot that has its own septic system well and subsurface drainage. So that may be more of a big picture item. And I did have some other recommendations that are in my letter that just when you're writing the decision, if you would please look at them and include them. I don't think we need to go over them tonight, but I think monitoring wells are good, but I think this is a little bit of a unique situation, and we can take it, focus on where the water is being discharged, and that would be near their detention basins.
Between this meeting and the next, is there any information you'd like them to work on? To
I
provide?
had asked, they did a great job inspecting all the drainage structures. And I just want everybody to know the wear and tear and stuff they were talking about the structures is very normal for the timeline that it was, those structures have been in. But I would like more information on the basins themselves, whether or not, I mean, I think we heard that there was some maintenance needed for them, probably mowing or brush hogging. But I'd like to find out how their capacity is versus what was proposed. Have they had a lot of sediment fill in and lose capacity? If they have berms around the basins, do we have any tree intrusion into the core of the berm? So just to follow up on that, I don't think it's anything so critical, and they seem to be committed to following the recommendations of CWS for repairs to the catch basins and drain manhole structures and pipes. So I just would like to see it carried forward to the basins.
Thank you. So we talked about the decision. Do we want to talk about having our special land use council talk with their legal counsel and with the town planner present and possibly the town administrator? Is that something that the board is amicable to or not?
I think that greases the wheels. I mean, let the attorneys flesh it out, and then we take the high level decisions. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to work, right?
I think I'm not adverse to it, because I think that, you know, we can give just some general guidance that, you know, make no, you know, don't concede to anything, just have a discussion about a process. And I think he would follow that, but I want to know how the rest of the board feels too. So Mark and I seem amicable to it. Is the rest of the, how does
I
the rest?
would be supportive of that as well.
Okay. Cindy and Rebecca, are you guys okay with that?
I mean, I'm okay with it. I guess I'd like some documentation afterwards as to what was discussed and any, you know, action items that came out of that. But I don't.
Why don't we get an update from Tracy afterwards? How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like it in writing if that's possible.
How about we make Tracy write her update? Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like we can do that. So, and with that in mind, is there anything else we need to cover, or can we continue this to a time and date certain at our next meeting?
Can I just make a point, just a bit of clarification, Mark? The planning board will be the responsible party for writing the final draft conditions, correct? But we are more than happy to take the conditions that are pulled together by Ms. Schneider and team for consult, right? But we will ultimately control the draft, correct?
It is our decision. It is our decision to write or to accept somebody else's, but knowing this board as I do, I don't think that they will come up with enough conditions to satisfy us. So we will have to write our own decision.
Well,
So
again, if they give us a framework, though, I mean, that could be helpful, and you know, anything that moves the ball.
it's a starting point. That's all. And like I said, we can crumple it up and throw it away. Their feelings won't be hurt. So.
my feelings might be hurt, but again, I think we're just helpful to the board, and you are certainly free to disregard anything that we put together. We're just trying to be helpful.
Awesome.
So you're looking for a motion to continue. I'd like to make a motion. When, Tracy, when's our next meeting?
It's, excuse me, October 17th,
What-
and you've already got Adam's Place at 7:05.
Adam's Place. So that's the only thing on our agenda right now?
Yes.
So I'd make a motion to continue to the 17th, assuming that the attorneys and everybody can work out their part of it. I'm sure the applicant's attorneys will be able to.
Can you give us a time?
So let's set it at, so continue to the 17th at 7:45, and then it's whenever we can start.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. Rebecca Werner,
Werner, I.
Cindy Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
Kathy Vorse,
Vorse, aye.
Mark White,
White eye.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your patience, and we'll see you on the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so what is on our agenda now?
100 Codman Hill.
Yeah, why don't we do 100 Codman Hill? So can somebody put up the legal notice?
Here it comes. Here you go. Share screen.
Thanks, Mark. Okay. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, and the Boxborough zoning bylaws, Section 8000, site plan approval, the Boxborough Planning Board will conduct a public hearing on Monday, October 3rd, 2022 at 7:15 p.m. to review the application submitted by Stamsky and McNary, Inc. on behalf of the property owner, French Brothers Boxborough LLC, to construct a 3-unit trade shop building. The subject property is located in the Industrial Commercial Zoning District at 100 Codman Hill Road and is identified as Assessor's Parcel 12350. Based on current COVID-19 circumstances, the public hearing will be held via Zoom video conferencing. All details will be made available on the planning board agenda when posted a minimum of 48 hours prior to the meeting at the town website, www.boxborough.ma.gov or boxborough-ma.gov. Plans may be reviewed at the planning office in Town Hall, 29 Middle Road during regular business hours. Okay, is there somebody from Stamsky here who would like to do a presentation for the board?
Yes, I am here. I'm Paul Kirchner from Stamsky and McNary. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks, Paul.
Okay.
Go ahead. Tell us about
do
your
you-
project.
Okay. Do you think I could screen share?
Yes, can we help him screen share?
Yeah. Oh, there it goes.
On his way.
Yep. Can we see this?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So again, my name is Paul Kirchner from Stamsky and McNary. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, French Brothers Boxborough LLC. They own the parcel. So what you're looking at here right now is the existing conditions plan, just so we're all aware. So 100 Codman Hill Road is located in the Industrial Commercial Zoning District. It's about a little over a mile southwest of the parcel you're just discussing, just to give it some context. So it's on the same side of 495, but the opposite side of Mass Ave. So the proposed project is for the construction of a 3-unit trade shop building that's shown on this plan here, which I've just scrolled to. I am going to move away from this and come back. But trade shop building is proposed 3 units. So That sort of use covers any sort of building contractor, landscape contractor, things like that, just to primarily as a garage to work out of is my understanding, but we can discuss that further later. So currently the property contains a landscape storage yard. The board issued the approval for the construction of that back in 2018. Prior to that, it was really a vacant lot. It had clearly been used for some purpose, as most of the trees were gone and there were piles of dirt in some areas, but I cannot say for sure what the use of that property was before. But 2018, the board did permit the construction of a landscape storage yard. So that included the construction of a gravel driveway, a concrete storage pad, which I'm trying to outline with my cursor here, and then also a stormwater management system, which included a sediment forebay and an infiltration trench. That project also allowed for the construction of some storage bins, typical for landscaping contractors to store loam and mulch or whatever it is they need to store, but those items are not currently present at the property. So in any case, you know, as a result of that, the disturbed site prior to 2018, and as a result more so of the more recent planning board approval for the construction of the landscape yard, the site is currently disturbed. However, there is no building on the site. So the applicant is proposing to construct the 3-unit trade shop building as I stated. The vast majority of the proposed construction is within the existing cleared area. We do have some relatively minor tree clearing proposed to the rear of the lot along the edge of the cleared area. Again, I am trying to outline that with my cursor here. But we aim to design the site in a way that maximize our use of what was already disturbed. So we are proposing 2 driveway entrances that matches existing conditions in terms of, you know, 2 in number and also location. They are generally within the vicinity of those existing openings. We are proposing parking to the rear of the building. So that includes parking along the outer edge of the parking lot, as well as parking right up against the building on these proposed concrete pads. The project will require the applicant to drill a new well, which is shown down here. We also will need to design a sewage disposal system to serve the building. And we also have designed a stormwater management system to deal with the increased runoff generated by the new impervious surface. So we have 2 stormwater management areas here, very similar in terms of their design. So we have deep sump hooded catch basins in both instances, directing runoff to manholes, which will divert flow from the manholes first to isolator rows to handle sediment in the first flush, and then to subsurface infiltration chambers where stormwater will be infiltrated. And in both instances, we also have proposed overflows, which will direct runoff to a level spreader during the larger design storms. But in our stormwater report, we have demonstrated that this will result in a decrease in stormwater flows from the site compared to the pre-development condition, which sort of leads to one of my other points here with the drainage analysis that we did for this project. I tried to make this clear in our stormwater narrative, but we analyzed the pre-development conditions, so prior to the construction of the landscape storage yard. So that may be a little bit confusing. I can go into greater depth on that if the board would like. But we did not analyze the current condition of the site with the infiltration trench. We analyzed the site prior to the installation of that infiltration trench. And again, I can expand on that if you would like. Lastly, there are bordering vegetated wetland and off-site in a couple of different areas. Elizabeth Brook also runs along the rear of the site, off-site. Both of these project, some sort of restrictions onto the site. So there is 100-foot buffer zone, which we are almost entirely staying outside of. There's also 200-foot riverfront area, which we are limiting our disturbance within that area, but we will need to file a notice of intent for this work with the Conservation Commission. So that is incoming, but we elected to file the site plan application first in order to get we like to bring more of a finished product to the Conservation Commission, or at least something that the board has seen in the first place and had an opportunity to make initial comments on. So that's why we've chosen to go this path. We did receive some comments from Places Associates earlier today. I have not had an opportunity to generate a formal response. I believe there's also a statement at the end of that letter that essentially says more comments on zoning as it relates to this lot will be coming. So I expect to hear more from Places on that front. I can discuss the specifics of the letter that we have received if the board would like, but I'm going to save you from that, given that I haven't even generated a formal response yet. But if you ask, I will deliver. Other components we submitted for this project, we have a landscape plan that we provided to the board. Like I said, the majority of the proposed work is within disturbed area. So most of this proposed landscaping is to just sort of fill in the areas around the parking lot, screen some of the areas from the street, but the majority of the existing vegetation in front of the building will be preserved. So while there will be we are proposing a new building on this lot, we aren't going to be clearing all the trees in front of it. We actually would like all of them to remain. So we feel that this proposed use and layout is very favorable to this particular parcel, given that we're staying within the existing disturbed area and trying to maintain sort of the layout as much as possible, given that we are proposing an entirely different use. But at this point, I have said my piece, so I can answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Why don't we hear from our consulting engineer? Sue, can you give us a rundown of your concerns?
Sure. One of my concerns is that we get an accurate existing conditions plan. The RDA that was filed 2 years ago with the Conservation Commission was not approved. So I want to make sure that what you get is the same as conservation in terms of resource areas. There's a vernal pool just off site, which would be to the right-hand side of the plan, as well as, there it is. But on one of the plans, it was labeled as a BV bordering vegetated wetland. It has different implications. We also saw that the RDA, we had specific concerns regarding the riverfront area, which may impact the Conservation Commission's feedback. But one of the biggest things to generalize is that because the, Paul, can you show where the line is for the aquifer district, where it goes through the site?
Yeah, we're showing it right here.
Okay. So one of my concerns here is that the back of the buildings drain to drainage structures on the back edge of the parking lot, which then goes into an infiltration system. So then it's out of sight, out of mind. So the question is what really is going to happen in those buildings? Are they going to have vehicles in them overnight? Are there going to be vehicle repairs allowed? If vehicles go in the buildings, they're going to need a floor drain and a holding tank. So most of my questions are related to providing additional information so that we can be sure that the aquifer is safeguarded. There's an outdoor gravel storage area as well as a concrete storage area that is shown on the plan, but it's undefined what the potential purposes for them are. Is it for vehicle storage overnight? How's it going to be used? So that was one of our big concerns in general, is to make sure the board understood what was coming and going on the site. the other thing is on one of the Mass Ave sites where they were going to be selling used cars. We had a ruling from, I can't remember if it was I think it was town council at the time, that if a use is not allowed in the aquifer protection district, then you can't have the drainage or parking for it go in the aquifer district. And while trade bays are allowed, part of what's going on in the building, we need a little more definition: storage of hazardous materials, whether or not they're going to be doing vehicle repairs on their vehicles, things like that. And then I have some comments that were just more towards some of the landscaping comments. We're making sure that we get everything stabilized, especially where the well's going in, the typical 1-year warranty. We're not recommending the use of red cedars because they are a host for the red cedar apple rust, which could potentially damage any orchards that are nearby. And the other question I had was, we show 24 employees, 24 parking spaces, but what about the parking spaces related to the businesses? Will vehicles be left there overnight? Will there be, a plumber's van or on site, just to make sure that what you see is what you get and that it is truly functional? And then my last comment is that Codman Hill Road right now is getting a reputation as having an issue with PFAS showing up in the wells. And I just wanted to flag out that with this well location, there's not much room for them to put a water treatment building should PFAS show up in the water supply. I was just asked to review one on Codman Hill Road for a condo complex where they were forced to put a water treatment building up for the filtration needed for PFAS. So I just wanted to flag that out to the applicant to make sure they're aware of it, and they may want to do some pre-testing to see if that well will meet minimum standards. So there's a variety of issues. Unfortunately, our schedule hasn't been absolutely crazy, and I did not realize this hearing was tonight until last week, and I did not review it for compliance with zoning. I think that's very minimal. It's just some of these questions I think we need answered for the board, so you have a good idea of what's coming here and what environmental protections will be in place to protect the aquifer and the wetlands and the adjacent brook. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thanks, Sue. I have a question, Paul. Are the owners actually planning to run a landscape contractor business out of there? Or is that one of their possible uses for the building?
That is just a possible use. So
Okay.
the intent is to rent these units out, so they aren't 100% on who will occupy these units yet, so they can't say for sure what the uses will be, but that's just something I offered as an example of what could be.
I get you. Well, landscape contractors has a retail component, and it also has an outside storage of material component. And this site is not really well suited for either, given its size. I think you'd agree there's not great parking for visitors to come and take materials or view materials. And also, as Sue pointed out, the chambers for the stormwater are in the aquifer, and anything you put in by definition that runs into it, any materials you put in there, the runoff's going to go into the aquifer. So it's really not well suited as a landscape contractor building. The other comment that I would make is that the recharge and part of the aprons for the doors are in the aquifer, and as well as the well. So you're actually required to get all of your CONSCOM permits complete and get your Board of Health permits complete before we can issue. If this were a special permit, that's what we would require. So I'm concerned about any request to put materials, outside storage of materials on the site, or doing retail sales off of this property. So any comments from any of the board members?
I
Well,
guess, given the proximity of the aquifer, I'm just looking at the regulations under 7004. I'm trying to understand if half the property is in and half is not, what metrics are we supposed to be using? But, you know, I certainly want to flesh out each of those subcategories under the use regulations on 7004, and then whether the project complies. Because again, we don't even know what the use is going to be, so there's a lot of prohibitions on storage of things, and I think Sue referenced the need for drainage, and there might be oil, you know, associated with the vehicles, and all sorts of concerns. So I guess I'd want to see some specificity regarding what products are going to be there and how it complies with those regulations specifically.
And one or more storage tanks for the floor drains should be shown and permitted through Board of Health.
Understood.
Can I, oh, sorry,
Sure.
Mark, do we need to jump in on you?
No, that's fine. I was just going to say that I'm not opposed to the idea of having contractors, you know, running, you know, small contractors running business out of the site. I'm just more concerned about the storage of materials, fertilizers, other things on the site. And sorry about that, Rebecca. Go ahead.
Thank you. Paul, with the curb cuts are staying as is right now, no impact to the stone wall and the curb cuts, or do they have to be changed out according to your plan at all?
Yeah, so we are, the layout will require the slight alteration of one of the existing openings in the stone wall. So on the south side over here, which I'm trying to trace, that will stay the same. We don't need to expand that at all. On this, well, accidentally scrolling pages here. On this north side, we will need to remove a portion of the stone wall. This portion of the stone wall is actually entirely on the subject property, but just to accommodate the driveway flare and the proposed walkway, we will need to cut back that stone wall a few feet.
Got it. Thank you. I don't think it's a scenic road. I was just curious about that. And then I noted that you mentioned that all of the existing vegetation along the street is supposed to be protected in place. It should be noted on your plans that that's where that is, what the intent is, wherever it's applicable. Just checking out your lighting fixtures. They look like they're dark sky compliant with full cutoff, which is awesome, and LEDs, which is great. Where are your light fixtures meant to be installed? I might have missed that, but could you just review that with us?
Yep, absolutely. So it's actually shown only on this plan, sheet 4, the layout plan. So in between each pair of overhead doors, and then on the short dimensions of the building on the sides.
So there's no landscape lighting in the parking lot or anything?
None proposed, no.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. I love that landscape plan calls for removal and disposal of all invasives on site. That was fantastic. Is there do you have a proposed tree removal plan? And if I missed that, I apologize.
We do not. So are you referring to like a schedule of tree removal, or just something that shows where?
Just like your demo plan or whatever usually shows, you know, trees with an X out when they're going to be scheduled for removal.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, we don't have a specific plan that shows that. On our site development plan, we do show the existing and proposed tree line, but we haven't located all of the trees in that area. So this is really the tree removal area that we're talking about here.
Sorry, in there. Okay. Is there any way to locate those on a plan?
So we do not have a plan that shows the individual trees to be removed now.
Is that something that you could produce though?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, if that's a request of the board to know exactly what we're going to be removing, then absolutely we can. I can speak with the applicant, and we can most likely arrange to do that. I mean, I don't expect it to be many, but we can look into that if that is a request of yours.
It would be helpful, Paul, and I say that only because the limit of tree canopy, you and I know, is kind of vague with some of these graphics, and but understanding, like, I guess if a tree is pretty sizable, I guess it would be nice to know if we've got something significant on site out there. I don't suspect that you really do, but I'm driving by the site, but I'm just curious. And extent of tree protection is always something that I ask for with tree protection details as well. I think that's all I had for questions and comments that hasn't already been covered. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Sue.
Just a quick follow-up on Rebecca. The tree line doesn't reflect the well going in, so you want to make sure that it gives you enough room to get the well in and run the pump test on it.
Understood.
Okay, Mark.
I guess I'm all for, 3-bay contractor. I mean, it's hopefully it'll do well. It's a tight squeeze there, though, I gotta say, for 3. I mean, I'm trying to think if I had to run my business out of the backside of that. I don't know how you're gonna do it, frankly. You get, those are big bays. And really a lot depends on what business goes in there. So I just don't know. I have a hard time remembering how we handle these, because not knowing what business goes in there, how do we decide what's the appropriate amount of parking? And I mean, I don't see as there's any way you can escape having to put drains inside, because there's no way to prohibit anybody from ever pulling their vehicles in there. So you're going to have that, and everybody's going to want to pull their vehicles in there, let's face it. So I'm just kind of worried about the parking, because I don't know how that's going to work. So I guess I'd ask the board is like, well, how do we contemplate when we don't know a use? What's the right amount of parking, and how does it get appropriated?
It's a great point, because when you're left with a vanilla box, it could be used for just about anything. And right now we're like, I'm saying you can't store things outside like a contractor's lot. It's ill suited for retail. And you're saying, how are you going to park, construction vehicles in there when you seem to have a pretty narrow turning radius to get into the bays? And
Tight squeeze.
I don't know how we're going to handle it. But I do think we have to handle it. Maybe we need to get Paul to give us a specific use or uses, and then evaluate it accordingly. But I didn't want to interrupt you, Mark. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I'm just a little bit stumped over how it would get used, and then again, the biggest problem we have is you permit a building, and then that changes hands, and then everything that got written into the decision or understood in the decision gets lost over time. The other comment I guess I would make is we just spoke to the prior applicant about how his building looked from the roadway, but nobody said a word about this one. And frankly, I don't live down that street, so I don't have to look at it going by, but there's been no consideration given to its look from the street. And I'm surprised that you guys didn't pipe up over that one, but so I'm not going to dig in on it, but I just find it very inconsistent of you guys to not say a word about it. And
Well,
I-
shame on us, Mr. White.
Oh,
Maybe
here I am.
I might add a couple of comments as I scold you right back, and that is, we're not done with this guy yet, number one. Number two, that's the office park, and you've been down that part of town, and this part of town is largely industrial, and it's in the industrial district, and it is a different animal down here. It's not, and we don't have a special permit before us, so getting into the aesthetics on a site plan review is a little more difficult. So
I'm
quit
not saying we
picking on
should.
it.
I'm just wondering why nobody said anything about it. So
Kathy, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sort of going to support Mark because I looked at the elevation drawing and I think he's got the rear elevation marked front elevation and the front marked rear. So it's kind of hard to analyze what it's going to look like from the street.
If we can weigh in on the aesthetics, yeah, it's a corrugated steel building, and I find them probably the least desirable of any, design.
Yeah. I also have a question on the prior drawing you were showing, I guess it was the landscape drawing. In the center bay, in halftone was printed gravel drive. Is that in halftones because you're telling us what the existing condition is, or is your drive going to be a gravel drive as opposed to a paved asphalt drive?
So that's just from the existing conditions plan. That's why it's grayed out. So that is the current condition. We aren't proposing a gravel drive here. So I can clarify that in the revised plan.
You are or are not proposing a gravel drive?
We are not proposing a gravel drive.
Okay.
Rebecca.
I fibbed and I have some more questions. So I see in those elevations now that we have had them pull up, there's doors on the front face of the building. Is there a need for any additional sidewalks shown or impervious, I guess, along that side, or do those just go out to the loam and seed?
I also only just noticed this when I opened this up, so I will have to speak with the applicant. There is no intention to really provide regular direct access to the front portion of the building, or as this plan says, rear. But I'll need to confirm that with the applicant, but I don't anticipate proposing any additional impervious area just to get to those doors because we don't expect them to be used, but I will confirm.
Thanks. And what are the sizing of your parking spaces that you're showing?
10 by 20. Let me confirm 100%. Yes, 10 by 20.
And would you consider anything smaller than that? I know that's pretty standard, but our previous applicant went down to like 18.
I mean, I need to speak with the applicant to see if that's something you might consider, but just in general, I think especially for this sort of use, if we have contractors on site, they're more likely to drive larger vehicles where they probably want the 20 by 10 parking spaces.
Got it.
But we can confirm that. And
that might just get you closer to the number for, you guys are over by 2% of impervious. Is that correct?
Yes, within the Aquifer Protection District. Yeah.
That's the only reason I bring that up. And then I noticed there's a concrete pad on the existing conditions plan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything stating that it's to be removed, but I'm assuming that it is. Or am I incorrect?
It will be removed. Again, I can label that more clearly as well. I did try to gray it out, but it is not clear on this plan, so I can clarify in the revised set.
And that's probably assumed in your calculations, I assume, right?
It is, yes.
Okay, let's see if I got to all of them. I found plan markup, so I apologize. Okay, I think that's it. That's all I have. for sure this time.
Thanks, Rebecca. Sue?
Thank you.
Quick follow-up on Rebecca's comment on the parking. We've got the 8x10 parking space, but they've only got a 20-foot backup aisle. Normally we see a 24-foot aisle. So that area is really tight to begin with. And then when you consider the maneuvering to get into the garage bays, whether they're backing in or backing out, it just gets really tight in there. So if we reduce the size of the parking space, I think it's just on paper so that the aisle is wider. I don't see them going smaller and still have the site be maneuverable by vehicles.
So the other things that I was thinking about is two things. One is understanding where your snow is going to be piled. As Sue mentioned in the last application, that's, you know, an important thing, because if I was plowing this thing, I would invariably wind up pushing it all into the aquifer, and then that would be causing problems. So I think we need to account for that. And then the other thing is if this is really a contractor's lot, you need a place for one or more roll-offs. If they're going to be renting to two different people, we're going to need two 15-yard dumpsters back there, or, you know, three maybe, because that's just what contractors tend to do. So we need to consider any runoff from whatever they put in those dumpsters, and Lord knows they'll be putting all kinds of stuff in there, you know, lead paint, asbestos, you know, all kinds of stuff they're not supposed to be doing. So, like any good contractor.
Again, that would have to be outside the aquifer district as well. But if those roll-offs would have to be located.
And Rebecca might have already mentioned it, and I wasn't paying close enough attention, but you know, how are you lighting it? Is it dark sky compliant? Are you planning to put up a signpost? Where will that be located?
Mark, all their lighting was full cutoff and dark sky, and they showed us locations
Okay.
on the building only, no site lighting.
Cool. So maybe just a sign location?
I will confirm that.
Awesome.
It wasn't clear. Oh, sorry. I think Janet has her hand up. Go ahead.
She does. Yeah. Go ahead, Janet.
Hi there. Is there an existing well on the property?
There is not.
Okay. Thank you.
So I just also wanted to echo now that Mark White has brought up the sort of the aesthetics we do under our site plan criteria need to find that architectural style shall be in harmony with prevailing character and scale of buildings in the neighborhood. So I would suggest that the applicant might want to rethink some of the architectural details of the corrugated metal and perhaps provide something that's more aesthetically pleasing to satisfy that criteria. But I guess, you know, based on Sue's letter, I just expected that we were going to see some significant revisions to this. So I wasn't, I'm hoping that we're going to get a revised set of drawings based on those comments.
I think it's a good place to start, though. I mean, so what does the board want to do? I think maybe we've given Paul some homework. Maybe we can put him on the next meeting or the following.
So I heard that you have a meeting on the 17th. Is the following meeting just the first Monday of November? The 7th?
Yes, November 7th.
Okay. Mike French, who's from French Brothers, is on the call. I would like him to provide some input on when he'd like to continue to, but I think realistically, I mean, even just simply locating some of these trees, I think that we're going to be pushing up tight on the 17th, you know, because if we submit a revised plan, then everyone has to look at it, and it's only 2 weeks away. So
it would be more practical to go 30 days, but we should hear from the applicant. Mike, are you here? You can, if you want to speak up.
I know he was having some internet problems at one point, so maybe they're persisting.
You should be able to unmute, I think. If not, you can raise your hand. He may not be able to.
Yeah, I didn't even realize there was a button to ask to unmute until right now, but
Yep, there he is. Oop, he flipped in and out for a second there. There
I
he is.
apologize. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Mike.
Good evening. I've been battling a pretty bad internet connection at my house tonight. I apologize. Paul, I'm okay continuing for 30 days. I think that will give you, assuming you're okay with that, give you and I enough time comfortably to huddle and revise the drawings with some of the comments we heard tonight, rather than try to rush it all together in 2 weeks' time. I think that's more realistic to give ourselves a month if everyone agrees. And Paul, if you think you need a month and a half, I'd be okay with that. I just want to try to get it right and have these questions answered thoughtfully.
I think that shooting for the 30 days is our best course of action. So we should do that.
I'm good with that.
Michael, could I ask you a couple questions about the project? I was wondering if, we raised some concerns about outside storage of materials and also customer traffic there. Those are the kind of things that could be allowed under a landscape contractor business, but we don't really feel it's practical on the lot. Are you comfortable if we just, if you want to do a contractor's lot instead, you could still have a landscaper renting there, but not the material storage outside. And
I would be, yes, I would be. I don't foresee this. I know there's a lot of different coulda, woulda, what may the future may hold. I get your point there as far as not knowing what the tenant may be in each unit, but I do agree that this property doesn't necessarily call for customers coming and going, picking up materials and shopping per se. It would be more so like a home base for a company to work out of with their materials. I do foresee like a van, a plumbing van or a vehicle parked inside. So your point about floor drains is a good one. So yeah, I would be okay with what you mentioned before.
Those kind of uses are sorely needed around the state. It's hard for contractors to find a home base these days. So it's probably a pretty good use for the property.
I hope so. Thank you.
Okay, so we've gotten a green light from the applicant to continue for 30 days. Is that the motion? Would someone like to make a motion and a time and date certain?
Do we have anything else on for the 21st?
It's actually, the next meeting would be November 7th. After the 17th.
Oh, 30 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything pending at that time that we know of, Tracy?
Yeah, you don't have anything scheduled right now.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the hearing until November, what was it, 7th?
7th, yep.
At 7:45.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Is there a reason you didn't want to put it on earlier, Mark?
Just gives 15 minutes for everybody to show up, like today.
We start at 7. You want to make it 7:15?
Oh, that's true. I keep forgetting it. We start at 7. Yeah, that's true. 7:15.
Okay,
I amend that motion.
all right. Is there any discussion? Okay,
Second that amendment.
All right.
Rebecca's second and already covered.
okay. So roll call vote, Rebecca Werner, and this is for 7:15.
Werner, aye.
Okay. Cindy Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
Kathy Vorse,
Force aye.
Mark White,
Right, aye?
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. So thank you guys for coming.
Can I just say one thing to Paul? For the trees, 6 inches and up, like nothing smaller is necessary, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you for that
Awesome.
clarification.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to add one thing too, Mike. Put windows up in the front there. It'll make it look better, give you natural light, and it's going to be worth more money. per square foot when you rent it. Guys like the natural light coming in, and that's west facing.
I appreciate the recommendation. I do have a more colorful architect's rendering in my office. It's not available tonight, so my fault on that, but we'll bring that to the next meeting after I review with Paul, and I'll take your recommendation about extra glass into consideration. Thank you.
Up to you.
Excellent.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. So,
Do you need me for anything else?
do we need Sue for anything else?
I don't think
Yep,
so.
update on the enclave. I know last time you were going to talk about fall plantings. Now I can't remember where we left that.
I have not heard back from them with scheduling. So I don't have any updates in the past 2 weeks. I haven't, as soon as I do, I will let you know.
All right, anything else?
Okay, good night then,
nothing.
thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
Okay.
Okay, so back to our recodification of the current zoning bylaw. I hope we didn't lose some of the people that were here for that. I know it's been some time since we called that hearing to order. I assume do I have to read a notice for this one too? Anybody want to throw it up there?
But recodification. And legal notice.
Thanks, Mark. Okay.
I don't think you have to read the whole thing. I think you just have to read the intro.
Okay, the Boxborough Planning Board will conduct a public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 5 on Monday, October 3rd, 2022 at 7:05 PM to consider the following proposed zoning bylaw amendment. To see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaw Article 1 through Article 9 by adopting the recodification of the existing zoning bylaw as shown on an 88-page document entitled Proposed Zoning Bylaw Recodification, on file at the town clerk's office, town planner's office, and viewable on the town of Boxborough's website. And I'm not going to even read it. It's on the screen. It's too much. I'll just read the purpose. The purpose of the bylaw is to make the bylaw easier for users to navigate, simplify and update its language, and provide a better structure for predictability and flexibility in both the interests of the current use and the future adaptability by the following. So this is going to be the hearing. We've looked at it a lot, and I see some people hopefully that are going to give us some advice on this meeting. But just to recap, we did create an indus. It's probably the easiest way to go through it, but we may not have caught everything with our indus. So if there's other items that need to be brought up, any member of the audience that's interested, it would be great to hear from you. So just raise your hand if you'd like to make a comment.
Michael, wake up.
We need you, Michael.
I need you.
I'm here.
Michael, what did we miss? Tell me now. Don't tell me at town meeting.
Well, since the draft that just came over the wall is substantially different than the one that was there 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And it does include the language that had been dropped out of the non-conforming usage section. That section was completely rewritten. What I'm a little confused about is if there is a mapping of the previous bylaws onto this one so we could see what was or wasn't carried forward, because I know people have looked at various sections on that, and we did find certain things that didn't make it forward at one point. The things that I had noticed, especially within the non-conforming uses section, appears to have reappeared, because the section that was only like 3 paragraphs is now multiple sections and looks more like the original document. But since this just came over the wall within the last few days, I haven't had a chance to go over with the fine tooth comb. Over.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. So, when did that go up? Anyone know? Most recent version?
The latest version got sent to me from Barrett, I believe on Thursday.
Okay, so this is very new. Okay.
And then I put it up in your packets and things.
Okay. So, I definitely don't want to, limit people who want to make some substantive changes to the bylaw or point out some things that might need to be changed. I personally think we have until the day the warrant goes to print to, completely fix this thing if there are other items that need to be changed in it. So, Michael, my comment to you is, write down what they are, or at least the section numbers, and then a general comment as to what about it is problematic, and we'll definitely address it. I know that some of the things that we may have taken out and put back in were things that town council wanted back in. But in any event, if we put something in that was not there before, we should get an explanation and have it ready, so at least people understand why it's there if they have a concern. So, Michael, any way you can just give me a list? You don't have to give it at this meeting, but just send me an email with a list of, and Tracy as well, of sections, subsections, and reasons why they're problematic.
Well, the things that I've seen that were problematic before have actually been corrected, at least several of them that I spot checked.
Okay.
So the language in the section of non-conforming uses now is much more extensive than what was in the draft 2 weeks ago. There was no explanation, as far as I can tell, or really a red line saying why things were put back in or whatever, though it was obvious that there were things that were town bylaws that were completely dropped on the floor previously that now have reappeared.
Okay.
So, Michael, were you aware of the index that accompanied the revision?
There was let's see, what was I was looking at the index of changes, and the language in section 4.3, there was, I had a lot of trouble parsing that because there was something about after reviewing, they wanted to make some changes or revert, and then town council wanted to do something else. But this document is definitely different than what was the previous draft and does look more like what I think it should look like. So I'm not sure that jives with what I see in the index.
Okay, well, I think the index identified that these were Attorney Costa's suggested revisions, I believe. But that was the intent of the index, was to give you guidance as to why things changed. And we can certainly, if you highlight to Mark what your outstanding issues are, we can certainly get.
Well, the comment, I guess the comment I'm having trouble parsing is that it says town council said we should revert to told us that the new language should be retained. But if I thought the new language was that of the previous draft that was not retained, this actually looks like closer to the original bylaws before renumbering. So I guess I don't understand the index for section 4.3.
Right.
Was that comment made by Barrett Planning Group?
Yes. So Barrett said, after reviewing our own records and Attorney Costa's comments, while our goal was to streamline and clarify the language here and avoid some potential legal pitfalls while keeping the basic intent of the section intact, there are some changes that could potentially be considered substantial. See Adam Costa comments on 2/24/22 draft for helpful summation of these changes. If the board would rather us revert to the language of the existing bylaw, we can do that.
So we need to figure that out.
Right, so the board, yeah, we need to understand the language.
And the next column, I have trouble reconciling that comment with the next column, which was the comments from, or it says questions from BPG.
Right, so they said, we considered reverting this entire section to the previous language due to numerous concerns from board members, but town council advises that the new language should be retained. So I think that tells us council's comfortable with the new language, not the old. And you're telling me the new is what's in there now. I haven't had a chance to compare.
Well, I don't know what's considered new versus old and what's in the current draft, because the previous draft and this draft were substantially different, though this draft does look like what is closer to what was in the original zoning bylaws before recodification.
Okay, well, I can tell you.
Get some clarity on it then.
Yeah, I can tell you just to reassure folks that the non-conforming use section was probably the one that changed, the most. Everything else was pretty cut and dry, but this would be the one to sort of focus on if folks are still concerned about the language revision.
So does anyone know when the warrant is going to be in the mail? Sounds like nobody knows.
Mark, my understanding from dealing with town council on warrant articles is it can change right up to the day of town meeting because it's how you move the article, that the point of publication of notice and conducting a hearing is to alert the public that those particular sections are the subject of potential change, and that the finalizing is be right on the floor of town meeting, as we've all experienced, just in the,
That's true.
moving of the article.
That's true, but there is a period of time before the warrant goes to print that you can modify the document. And so if this is a reference, this is a reference. This is going to be, see the town website for the recodification. So what my point is that we can still tweak it right up until people would expect to find the warrant in their mailbox. And we can do that without a vote at town meeting. We can do it at a vote of the planning board and get the select board to, tell the town administrator about it, get them to accept it. And then at that point, it would stay static until town meeting, and then any further changes would need to have a vote, a majority vote at town meeting to modify it. So I'm just trying to maximize, because Michael has a question and I want to get an answer.
I don't think that's correct. I think what Kathy said is right, is that you can modify it continuously from now until then. So you can modify it right up until the time that you print it in the warrant. And then, and Maria's going to pipe up. She probably knows better than I now, but I think you can keep on modifying it even after it's printed in the warrant and before you stand up and speak to it at town meeting. Let's see what Maria's got to say.
Okay, Mark, with respect to the drop dead date to the printer is October 24th. And then I'm looking to see, because I have mailing sent to post office is 11/3. So that's when it's going to be mailed. So presumably by 11/4, 11/5, they'll be in the mailboxes.
Okay. Thank you, Maria.
Okay.
So I guess my point is we have one more meeting anyway. So what we should do is do homework and figure out which is the right one and why, so we can at least explain it. And then maybe vote on it the following meeting. Does that sound like a reasonable course of action?
I have a question too. circulated in the packet appeared to be drafts that had been voted on by the FinCom and other, appropriate boards. Are those actual votes? Because it looks like we didn't score very well with FinCom.
Yes, they are actual votes. Maria, go ahead.
Yes, they're actual votes, and we did our recommendations this afternoon or this evening in our meeting, and we'll be sending those to Carter in the morning. I'm a little concerned if this particular codification changes a lot, because we voted it based on the information we had at the time. But if we have to change our recommendation on town floor, we could do that, and we can talk about that at our next meeting. But yes, they're the actual votes from the FinCom.
Where did you see that in the packet, Kathy? I've not
Yeah.
seen it in mine.
Yeah,
Where?
those-
Under warrant articles?
Yeah. I think that's what they were called.
Yeah, it's in the,
It's
I
in,
see. The
yeah.
draft with the IC. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Well, I'm not sure how a FinCom could vote on the recodification, but that didn't include this latest draft. I think the intent was to get this version up. So I don't know if that reflects and I didn't see their vote on recodification, but I thought they were voting in favor of recodification.
We did vote in favor of it, Cindy.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize there was more drafts coming. We were told by Carter. I was asked by Carter to get the final votes in as soon as possible. And I assumed wrong that the codification was what it was, the last draft of it. So, but we voted based on the last draft. And we did vote.
So you had the index, which explained all the changes, and that is essentially the final draft is based on those changes.
Yep. So we had Mark come to our meeting and talk through some of this stuff, and then explain that everything was up on the websites and that we were able to go and get the information that we needed out of your packages. So, and then we took the vote the following week.
So just so everybody understands, the planning board issues a report for town meeting on zoning changes. In this case, we are issuing a report on the bylaw that we are promulgating. So, that's what we're going to do. And if a board has concerns, another board, and they want to vote on the floor of town meeting, feel free. And hopefully you'll vote in the affirmative. And, that's it. That's, Carter, the report that we issue, we could issue that report on the floor of town meeting ourselves if we wanted to. Anyways, that's where we are. Do we want to, hold this over for another meeting and take a look into Michael Toops's question?
I want to give it one last read because frankly, I crashed my computer a week ago and I've been completely up to my eyeballs trying to work on it. I haven't had time to read. So I have not had a chance to read that thing fully. So
why don't we do that? Why don't we go another meeting? Does that sound reasonable?
I don't think there's any downside to it.
Yep.
Sorry, do we have time? I'm a little confused now on the timeline.
Mark Michael's got his hand up.
Go ahead, Michael.
Just a quick question. Is the draft that was distributed with this meeting really the final draft that y'all are working from? It was I'm assuming that's the case, but that's little clarification of that and whether or not the index goes with that draft or the previous draft.
The index, it came to, Cindy and I met with Barrett Planning Group, right? With the index unfilled out and read our questions to them. Then Barrett Planning Group produced the final draft that you guys are, that's up on the website, and filled in the index. Okay, so that's how that was the genesis of that. Any changes that were implemented were based on the questions that were raised in the index, and the version that you have is the final version. But everything is subject to change if we find a problem. So, you know, you're telling me that there could be a problem, so we need to look at it. I'm not even suggesting we're going to change it. I'm saying we need to look into it. That's all.
I wouldn't be saying at this point that there's a problem. I'm just saying that they have fixed problems and that document looks significantly different than the previous one.
Okay. Well, and it should, because we brought to them a list of changes with questions. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And so I still think we should look at it. So October 24th is when the warrant goes to print. That's what Maria just said. And December 3rd is when it's expected to be mailed. So any changes that we did right now, any tweaking of it, which we have not said we're going to do, but if we did, would all happen before anyone would be expecting to look at the draft that's in the warrant.
Well, let's be clear, they're not printing the draft in the warrant. We're always going to have a hyperlink to the draft on the website. This is an 80-page,
too big to
an 80-page document, right? So I think, you know, not to split hairs here, but I think we don't have a printing deadline. We certainly want to be as timely as we can to have the final version up there, but I don't think we're limited by the printing deadline.
And this is our report.
Let's
We're just
push it
going to issue a report.
to the next meeting then. Let's give it one more read. Next meeting, we should be able to walk in and say, okay, we all read it. And here's the changes at that point. That would be,
if any are needed. Yeah. So, okay. So this is a hearing, so continue it to a time and date certain. Do I have is there a motion?
motion to continue this hearing to the 17th at 10:30, because that's what time it's got to be by the time we get to it.
Don't put it too late. Put it earlier.
Let's say 9 o'clock.
All right.
Give us plenty of time.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments? Hearing none. Cindy Markowitz.
Markowitz, aye.
Mark White.
Aye.
Rebecca Werner.
Werner, aye.
Kathleen Vorse.
Force I.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay. Excellent. Moving right along at 10 o'clock. Okay. Let's see. So what do we need to talk about here? Because it is 10 o'clock.
Meeting minutes.
The meeting minutes. Yep.
Well, I'd like to go through the warrant articles, at least the consulting one. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, why don't we do that? But let's then go to the meeting minutes afterwards. Okay, so go ahead, Cindy. Do you want to talk about what your thoughts are?
Yeah, so Tracy, I think you put that in the Dropbox tonight.
I did.
I don't know. You said it was reworded. I didn't reword it. I don't know if it's different than what I had seen last, but would you mind bringing that up on the screen? So, so the warrant article for consulting support, you know, I think it's a couple of issues here. What I was trying to do was capture the work that we want to tee up in the near term, some of which was to get consultants in line for a possible submission of a draft environmental impact report, for which we would not normally get 53G money because it's not an application in front of us. But I sort of went a step further and combined that with trying to get started on baseline studies, which is really what we would need to evaluate that project and any other projects that come forward. I think by doing that, and my concern that, you know, we're not going to have a planner or a seasoned planner possibly in place for the next couple of months or whenever it takes to get somebody else in place, that by asking for funds to start baseline studies at this point in time, maybe more than we want to do, and that this might be better brought to annual town meeting, and we take our chances if the draft EIR for that particular project at 1414 comes in sooner, that we will rely on our current consulting budget and our own skill set to possibly try and review and shape that. So I wanted the board's thoughts about that, and the idea that perhaps we would push this off. I've talked to the Water Resources Committee. They were a little confused by this article because they thought we were going to be very specific about going for funds just for the review of the DEIR. Again, I went a little bit more long-term because I felt like we needed to do baseline studies that would be a little bit above and beyond just the review of the EIR, the draft EIR. So I may have confused people a little bit by proposing these baseline studies at this point in time, but I wanted the board's thoughts on this before I make my recommendation about what to do.
I personally am in favor of not putting it forth at special town meeting because I don't know that it needs, the urgency is so great that we can't wait, a few more months. And I think if the Water Resources Committee is not on board right now, I think that would be a serious hurdle to overcome. So getting their understanding and acquiescence, I think, would be important.
Right. And again, I want to be clear, they were on board with us getting immediate technical support for review of a draft EIR, which we don't know if it's coming, but they were supportive of that. But this was written to be a little broader, and they agreed that we should work on the water piece of this a little bit more extensively to get something for Springtown meeting that might be a little bit more specific to those studies.
So
I'm good with pushing it down to annual because, really the whole idea is to get as little on a fall town meeting as we can. And as much as we can get done during an annual, that's what we kind of owe it to the town to not try and do these things in the off hours. So, and we're gonna have a new town planner, and
right.
So we don't know when that's going to happen and who that person's going to be. I'd like to have that person lead the charge on this would be nice too.
Right. That was some of my thinking, was that the timing of all of this, if we get a monies up front and we're not able to get consultants in place because we've got a new town planner who will be getting up to speed, that the timing might not work out for us anyway. So,
yeah.
So maybe we should just hold a vote to just withdraw the, petition the select board to withdraw the article.
Well, in the interim, I guess, if this is to bounce out, could the planning board be working with Water Resources to kind of suss this out a little bit more to their comfort level? Like, and not just kick the whole thing down the road, but actually have some working sessions in advance of that. Okay.
Yes. So it's a big ask. We've talked to a couple of consultants. I do want to have more conversations with Water Resources and consultants to make sure we can frame this up in a way that's got some progression to it. I don't think, this whole study will be conducted in one phase, but there's hydrogeology work proposed. There might be wells to be drilled. This would be a long, well, I won't say long term, but a significant enough. But yes, to answer your question, Rebecca, I would propose that I work with Janet and the Water Resources folks to flesh out a scope that meets their satisfaction.
That we not put anything on our agenda. Let's put it on their agenda. You guys work with them. Our agenda is way too full for other
Well,
things.
my only concern about that, Mark, is that they're pursuing a very discrete task about water supply, and it may be harder to get their attention, but I'm happy to let them drive it. I just think we'll have to be really co-driving.
No, I agree, but I think when you say we, I think you mean like the royal we, but us, this board, I think we should not fill up this agenda with other things right now if we can help it. But if we have to, we will.
Okay.
Awesome.
So the ask is to go on the water resources agenda as a standing item that we work with them.
But the important thing tonight is whether or not we're going to request that this thing be pulled.
Sounds
Right.
like that's where we're all kind of headed. So
Well,
I didn't hear from Rebecca and
moving
Kathy
things
though.
along, I'll make the motion to pull this to request the select board to pull this from the warrant for
Second.
consideration at a future date.
Okay, moved by Mark, seconded by Kathleen. Any discussion? Hearing none. Cindy Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
Kathleen Vorse,
Force I.
Mark White,
Aye.
Rebecca Vernon,
Werner, I.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay, and then along those lines, we also have language back from council on the other 3 articles, the zoning articles. So, hey, Tracy, could you put that up? I heard you got a cleaner copy and sent it out. Okay.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
You're
let's
gonna-
see.
Are you gonna, oh, sorry. Do you want me to pass over this one since you didn't vote?
Oh, no, Tracy, you know what I was looking for was the Eichmann's revisions to the zoning that we're proposing. Do you remember earlier Carter had a really blurry draft? It's not this document.
Oh. I don't know if I have that. I think I copied and pasted what he put on the sixth version. The language was in it, the corrected language.
Yeah, but they're gonna need to see the changes, you know?
Yeah.
So Cindy, can you pull that up?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
We'll have a blurry version, but at least it has the changes on it.
So this wasn't in the packet, is that correct?
What Cindy's about to show you is not in the packet. What is in the packet is the revised language without, so this is the track changes version that Cindy's pulling up. So you can see what has been changed.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, the change initiation letter?
It's this.
Oh.
Yes, the change initiation letter. All right.
Yeah. So, Eichmann went through it and made a lot of changes. Most of the changes were formatting changes. And there was 1 or 2 substantial changes. So, let's see if we can pull this thing up.
Cindy,
Chair,
can you make your screen narrower and taller?
Me?
Yeah.
Jeez. You know.
Drag that document narrower and taller, not your screen, but your document.
You're asking a lot here. Can't you just wiggle your way around it?
Well, I mean, I'm only just seeing as much as you see there, so yeah. Oh, but you can't drag the window narrower. Drag your window narrower.
Well, then you'll see all the background stuff. I mean, can't you move around?
No, you don't see anything in the background. If you drag that window narrower, then you can drag the window taller, and then we get to see it like full size.
Are you guys not being able to see the text? Why don't we just go article by article? This is all Article 8 right now in front of you.
I can
Yeah,
barely see it.
let's not spend too much time
All right,
on it.
yeah, I just trying to perfect how we see things.
All right. Well, all you need to look at is the blue, right? Because that's what's new.
It is blurry. So here's a definition for ratio. To add the language in bold as described.
So you see his note, right?
The comment,
Yep.
please note that the ceiling height may not be consistent throughout the building.
Mark, for myself and others who may be less familiar with all of the people involved in this process, could you tell us who Mr. Eichmann is? His full
Yeah,
name? And
Eichmann is one of KMP Law's lawyers, and he's part of town council.
Why is Eichmann doing this?
Because I ask and I don't get what I want. Is that, I don't know, maybe he had, maybe.
Well, I thought we were
Carter had-
using Adam Costa for this stuff.
I was hoping to, but this is what I got. That's what I asked for. I asked for Adam. This is what I got.
Really?
Yeah. Could be a timing issue. I don't know. You know, maybe Adam said I'm busy, or I don't know. Eichmann said I got nothing to do. Who knows?
So are you all able to read John Eichmann's comment here? Please note that ceiling height may not be consistent throughout a building. As written, this provision could be interpreted as requiring double counting of gross floor area for the entire building where the ceiling height is greater than 12 feet in only a portion of that building. You might want to say, quote, any portion of the gross floor area of the building where the ceiling height is greater than 12 feet, 0 inches, other than in residential buildings.
That would be, that's a good catch.
Yeah.
That's why he makes the big bucks.
So I'm sorry, has this already been adopted in the revised version that Tracy had shown? Or
We will have to double check it.
Oh. So then now let me go see it. Yes. So the one that was in the packet has that in red, is added. All right, I see how it's working here. Okay, so what we're seeing is the run up to what was in the packet.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So that change has been made, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and is the board comfortable with that change, I guess is Mark's question.
I am.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now.
So the other thing he did was put in language so that if the recodification were to pass, then these numbers would align with the recodification.
So that's what this strike footnote 1 found in zoning bylaw, section 5002, and in section 5.1.2 of the recodified. Right, so that's what that language is about.
Yep. So he took the trouble to figure out where it would fit in the recodification and threw the numbers in there just in case.
So this language was already, we were proposing to strike, so that didn't change. And then he added, and to remove all references to the footnote in the table found in that section.
Yep. Which is just saying if there's any reference to that footnote, meaning there would have been footnotes in the table that stayed behind. Like there'd be a footnote 1, but the language of footnote 1 would be struck and no one would know why. So take out the numbers of footnotes on the table. Makes sense.
Makes sense to me too.
Okay, so is everybody good with the modification to Article 9?
Yes.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I just I do want to point out in the version that's in your packets, the article numbers have changed. So if you look in your packet, you'll see that the numbers to the articles, I believe it's 10, 11, or is it, 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe? I can't remember. I don't have it open in front of me.
Don't we typically write in that we have the right to change and like the numbering and stuff in the bylaw anyways? Isn't that usually in the warrant, like write up?
Yes, but Eichmann he says it's safer to be more specific. So.
Okay, so other than the article number, the language on this amending the zoning bylaw to align it with stormwater bylaw and regulations, are we comfortable with the change here? As shown on the screen?
Yes.
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 Okay, and yes, okay, so then the last article, amending the zoning bylaw to align the definition of lot coverage with the requirements in the dimensional table.
It's all formatting, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like he put the whole sentence in, and whereas I think the prior version just put the added language in. The language in bold as follows. Okay.
It's the same.
That's the same, right? So is everyone okay with this change?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So how about a motion to accept to recommend the corrections made by town council?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Rebecca, seconded by Cindy. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Kathy Vorse.
Vorse, aye.
Mark White.
White eye.
Rebecca Werner.
Werner, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Did I miss anyone?
Cindy.
Cindy Markowitz.
Markowitz, aye.
Okay, excellent. All right. Minutes, right? If we do minutes, then everything we're obliged to do are done, right? I don't know.
Well, I do recommend we adopt. I do recommend we adopt the stormwater application form sooner than later.
Is that on the agenda?
Yes, it is.
Put it up there.
You got that,
asked for
Tracy, or you want me to do it? Tracy, you got that?
I got it.
So the application
muted,
came from
sorry.
our engineer, and we did not adopt it when we adopted the rules and regulations, so we are now adopting it.
This is the rules and regs. We need that and the form because you just want to compare the fees in this with the
What,
form.
2 documents?
Yeah, is there the application form in that there also?
We got the Word document, stormwater management permit application final.
Yes.
Sounds like it.
That's it.
Okay, here it is. That's a Word document. I have a harder time with those.
So this is the application form that CEI gave to us, correct, Tracy? To
That is
accompany,
correct.
yeah, to accompany so we needed a form to accompany the actual rules and regs so that applicants had something to fill out. Got it, Mark?
Yeah. That it?
That's it.
Yeah.
The fees, right?
So the only thing on the fees, hold right there. The fee for professional peer review.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can make that bigger, but ours rules and regs start at $2,500. This form shows $5,000. I think we need to revise that unless I'm wrong.
Yep, I can change that. Hey, stop.
Better?
Yeah, it would be item number 6, that very small print there.
Determined on
Whoa.
a case-by-case basis unless in conjunction with site plan and or special permit application where $5,000 peer review fee is required. Boy, you should put that in small print.
Yeah, better read the fine print on this one or you're
Yeah.
screwed.
But our rules and regs say $2,500, right? I believe, correct, Tracy? And Mark, you had the regs open.
I can change that.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing that I saw. Well, you know what I would like to do, Tracy, since we have where it says signature of owner and then signature of applicant, can you put a line in that says print and maybe
Yeah.
print title?
Name.
Yeah, print, please.
Yep.
And all going forward, all future applications, please have a print line.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have to vote this?
I think we have to vote it if it's our rules and regulations. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, move to approve the stormwater management permit application form as amended.
Second.
Okay, moved by Cindy, seconded by Rebecca. Any discussion? Hearing none. Cindy Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
Kathy Borse,
Fourth, aye.
Mark White,
White eye.
Rebecca Werner,
Werner, aye.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay, is there anything else we absolutely positively have to do tonight or really ought to do?
On the other warrant articles, did we have any of the non-planning board articles we wanted to make votes on?
I'm okay not making votes on them, but if you guys want to, we certainly can. You know, I'm not sure how much I agree with the idea of every board in town, like holding votes for warrant articles anyways.
I don't, unless they apply to us,
I agree.
Well,
and they have to be pretty much in our
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Well, there is an article, I think if EDC is moving forward with that grant funding for a charrette for town planning for town center. But I mean, could we vote at town meeting? Because I think we need to hear more about it.
Well, they're not even going to put our votes in the warrant anyway, are they? So, I mean,
Don't know.
we can have a vote, but I'm not sure it's going to be put in print.
Okay, well, we can move on then. I mean, it's just, I don't even know if we have a draft. Did you put a draft, the whole warrant?
I don't think we
No, I only see the cover page of it.
Got a list.
All right, then we don't even have a warrant to look at.
Right. That's what I
No,
was gonna
because
say.
it's still in the draft form.
Well, then at our next meeting, we can bring it up if it's an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we just bring it up at the next meeting? Because like I said, I doubt we're going to get our votes in print anyway. What else do we got?
You want to do the minutes or kick them down the road?
No, let's do them. There's two sets of them, right?
All right, here you go.
All right. So we're back to the August 29th, 2022 meeting minutes. And
Actually,
somebody
that's right. We had started on these.
Yeah, I already gave my comments, so. Cindy, you're up.
Oh, we did it already? Oh, you guys, before when we were on the other meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, my only comment was I was still confused about whether it was 15,000 square feet extra or 20,000 square feet extra, but I think they're saying 15,000 square feet extra for the 400 camp.
I think they
Beaver
did
Brook.
say 20 at one point in time, and they just walked it back tonight.
We scared them. They shrunk their building by 5,000 square feet.
Well, actually, no, here it was. Look, right here.
Yep.
Extend the building by 15,000 square feet, and then later on, oh no, I guess there it is. It's
On
20,
line
Yeah.
146 and 147, they changed to 65 and 14, so the net number is the same, but
Right, those numbers have been jumping around. I just wanted folks to be aware of that. Yeah, that does, right, that 65 and 14 seems off, but.
yeah, the minutes could be accurate, but the
Right.
numbers changed, yes.
Right. Okay, I don't have any other comments on these minutes other than that.
Anyone else have some comments?
Maybe this was addressed in the meeting before I was able to get to the right meeting link. But I think we should define PFAS. Let's see.
That was Rebecca's call when we were talking, was all these acronyms need to be spelled out in full words, at least the first time.
Right. So the acronym is incorrect. It says PFS and it should be it should be PFAS.
In line
What line was it?
229?
What line was it, Janet?
Yeah, I'm looking for that now. You have to scroll for me.
229 is one instance.
I'm sorry, let me find it.
229, yeah. That's it. And then
Right, so-
228 has it right.
Oh, does it?
Just 229. Yeah.
So I was looking at 229, right? So we could spell out what that is, or if you want to.
Yeah.
So that would be per. Oh, how do I get you that edit? Do I just say it?
Say it now so that when
Spell out per PER hyphen.
PER hyphen and poly hyphen fluoro FLUORO alkyl ALKYL substances.
I like PFAS better.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, this is it's a part of education, right?
Yeah,
So,
no, it's a good point.
I can't even spell PFAS right, let alone polyfluoro.
Well, yes, we all are in that same place. Yeah, sure. That's all I had on these comments, these minutes, excuse me.
Okay. Any other comments? Going once, going twice. Hearing none. How about a vote to accept the minutes of August 29th, 2022 as amended?
I vote.
Second.
We're all anxious.
Somebody's got to be the one.
You said how about a vote? That was
All right.
constituted a vote.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Kathleen. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. Cindy Markowitz.
Markowitz, aye.
Kathy Vorse.
Vorse, aye.
Mark White.
Wait, aye.
Rebecca Werner.
Werner, aye.
And Mark Barbadaro, aye. Okay, so one more set of minutes?
Yeah,
Is that it?
hold on. Here they come. Minutes, September.
One I do have comments on, so you got away easy last time. All right, I'll go ahead and go. Line 49, the very last, after the comma, it says, and the hotel, comma, a hotel that is 100 feet above. I think that means a building that is 100 feet, because we're speaking about the new building.
Yeah.
Line 59, proposed at a max of 4.5% grade. Insert the word grade there. And line 72, Gutierrez stated that this is proposed at 2.1 to 2.2, remove the percentage. And after, on the next line, per 1,000, it should insert square feet. So per 1,000 square feet for a total of 290 spaces. I think that's all I had.
Okay, Rebecca, you're up, and then Janet.
111, not an illegal, strike the after that. And then actually going back to 106, this is interpreted as that the hotel was pre-existing, non-conforming, and not an instead of in illegal. Let's see if I have anything else. I'm nitpicking. I think that's all I have on that.
Janet?
Line 229, PFAS.
I found my people. I found my people now.
I'm only kidding because it happened to be on the same exact line in each, both meeting minutes.
That's
Just
funny.
Wow.
Funny. Oh,
Wow.
good
Have to
catch.
go play that number at the
not that
lottery.
it matters, but yeah, it's spelled correctly. It's PFAS, so we're good. That's all I have on this one.
Okay. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion to approve the, whatever, September 29th minutes.
Right.
Was that what it was?
September 19th,
19th. minutes.
2022.
Okay, so motion by Rebecca. Who will
I'll
second?
second it.
Okay, seconded by Kathy. All right, any discussion? Hearing none. Cindy Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
Mark White,
White eye.
Rebecca Byrne,
Werner, aye.
and I think Mark Barbadoro, aye. Did I miss anyone? Kathy.
Morse eye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Is there anything else that we need?
I'm going to just speak of why I put the MBTA communities on the agenda. We know we have to get an action plan if we so choose by the end of January. I would like to suggest that while the planning board should probably take the lead on this effort, we may want to reach out to some other boards and committees, such as the housing board, to work with us, and whether we want to form a working group, I'm not sure, but I just didn't want this to fall off with the departure of our planner and a new planner coming in. I just didn't want to leave this hanging. So not sure how we want to do it, but.
Well, I agree completely that the planning board should take the lead role, and I also agree completely if we can find another enthusiastic board member or two, someone from the housing board would be great, and maybe somebody from the select board may be helpful. Yeah, I mean, it's, we're going to lose our grants if we don't come up with an action plan.
Right.
So I guess the first step would be, what is an action plan? What defines it?
So did that make it into the packet? I think I sent you, Tracy, a PDF.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
Action plan form, yes.
Oh, look at that. Well, we know what we're doing here. Maybe.
Okay.
So this is the PDF of what needs to be filled out, and at first glance, it doesn't look too heavy. But it does require, as you work down here, preliminary zoning strategies, and that model, I believe that compliance model, which is accessible through a link, needs to be worked through. So, normally I would ask the town planner, I think, or we would ask the town planner to work through that. But again, I don't know what the timing of the departure of Tracy and the new planner might be. So we just need to be thinking about how to get going on this, whether we hire outside help, which technical assistance is provided. I don't know what it's going to take to get some, or whether we try and get our new planner to jump into this, again, given all the other things they're doing. So just looking for some feedback.
If you have a new planner
If we have a new planner.
in time. So we will have a new planner. Will we have one in time? I don't know. Asking for help might not be a bad thing.
Agree.
Regional Planning Board, would they help?
I say don't send it at all. Just wait until they make us. Wait until we want the money, then fill out the damn form.
Then you got to wait for the review. Suddenly it's too late. It's like,
We're never going to need money in a hurry like that. I mean, the kind of money that we're talking about.
Well, I think the grant that the
preventing us
EDC,
from getting.
the EDC is going after, I believe, is through the One Stop program, and that probably would be a limiting factor.
Well, then have the EDC fill it out.
I don't know. I think we should see if we can enlist some aid from a regional planning board. I mean, that's what they're for.
Right.
There's no cost to us to do that?
There might be, but usually there isn't. Something small for like a project.
There was all sorts of technical guidance links that came with all this MBTA stuff. I just haven't explored it further. I'd like somebody
Looks like
to.
you could just put anything in these boxes and hit send on it and see what they say. Want me to do it for you?
No.
Well, one of them is applying DCHD's compliance model to test for density and unit capacity, and I do think that is something we need to do.
Well, I think tonight we've reached the point of diminishing returns. So I think we should inquire of other boards' willingness to participate and put it on, kick it ahead to the next meeting.
Al is interested in this stuff, and I bet you he could be a big help.
I agree.
We'll talk to Al, and I think we should try and, I think it's important enough that a member of the select board might be helpful, but.
Who is Al?
Al, what's Al's last name?
Murphy. Al Murphy is the chair of the housing board.
Okay, well, Channing Wag seemed to be participating in some of the meetings as well.
He does, yeah. Yep, either of them would be good, or both.
Okay, so Mark, why don't you or I reach out to the chair of the housing board, ask for a representative, and then brainstorm with them whether they want to ask for select board representative, and
I'll email them
go
tomorrow.
from there. Okay.
I'll email both of them.
Great.
Okay.
Terrific.
All right. Is there anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. Cindy Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
Kathy Vorse,
Vorse, aye.
Mark White,
Aye.
and Rebecca Werner, aye. Have a good night.